My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence, that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C, and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state. All right, this is about the third time that these demons right here are pacing with a child also. Gang stalking with the U.S. military, studying their devices. They're mentally ill. These are demons, though. They're gang stalking. And they're engaging in this. They're walking around over and over while the entity is stalking by planes. This is, you need to understand that that's what fills the library. That's what's filling the grocery store stalking. That's what's going into the bathroom stalking. That's what is engaging, what is following me around under the fake sun. These are demons that are engaged in obsessive and psychotic behavior, and the sickos have a child that's also monitoring with them. And they're up stalking me. I don't know these white people that are gang stalking me. This is a population. And the U.S. military is targeting me with them together. And they know exactly who I am. This is how the entity has a whole supernatural environment around me. This is the prosecution of the government for that unlawful threat to your life, while millions of people are keeping you under surveillance and together conspiring your murder while they're gang stalking you together. This is the Ontario Senior Center. These are psychopaths. They're engaged in psychopathic pacing. They keep crossing path in concert with the demons. I capture that in images. I'm going to upload it to X. This is evidence against the entire entity. This is a pattern of conduct. This is evidence I can use against the entire population. This is the P.O.C. All right, it is currently 12:15 a.m. .32 a.m. At the Ovid Family Community Library, the Senior Center, where the entity is stalking in commercial planes. This is P.O.C. This is what the people of the state share in gang stalking, criminal surveillance, mentally ill, fixation and obsession with stalking while they are being prosecuted as a corrupt entity. 2 o'clock in the morning, the entity is stalking in planes. This is P.O.C. It's 2:38 a.m. This is what it looks like when the government is stalking you in planes. There are no passengers on that plane. That's being flown by the military that are mentally ill. That's not a military operation. It's entirely illegitimate, and it's pursuant to stalking me for no legitimate purpose, and I'm an American citizen. So you have the U.S. military that is stalking in psychotic means, such as in a plane. They're engaging in a U-turn over the Ontario Town Square. They're following as I'm leaving the library area, and so are all the people of the state. This is the evidence that is not only speaking to criminal activity by the U.S. military, that's the U.S. government that's a stalker. And the extreme means whereby the U.S. government is stalking me is speaking to criminal and civil liability by the people of the state as well. Lending instrumentalities of interstate commerce to the U.S. government, not ignorantly, and nor will you be found to be reasonably ignorant under the law. This is the P.O.C., and this is the entity that is gang stalking me as I'm leaving the Ontario Town Square. So they're not flying over this direction, which would be north, flying in this west over the Senior Center area while I'm walking in this direction. They're remaining south of my person, and they're stalking, flying over the Metro 102 apartments over there. That's not what they're doing when I'm at the library. All right. They're maintaining what is alignment with me while I'm walking, while I'm moving, while I'm traveling. And this is what an entity is doing, stalking in the path. Okay. There's no passengers aboard these planes that they're stalking me in. Okay, the people of the state are very much stalkers. They are. They're monitoring, they're targeting with the U.S. military, but the U.S. military are getting on these planes and using entire planes stalking me. And they're going to be diagnosed behind that. P.O.C. It is currently at the Ontario Town Square, as you can see. It is 5:53 a.m. P.O.C. And there you go. This is mental illness, not just criminal conduct by the military. No passengers on that plane. This also is the sunlight touching the buildings, and this is stalking on the roads and the highways. This is stalking on the roads and the highways. It's actually psychopathic pacing. This is under the fake sun, where the mentally ill that are going to be discharged for treason, for being engaged in federal RICO, for incentivizing criminal activity and un-American conduct amongst the American public. They're demons under the fake sun. This is Vos Church right here. Rock of Faith. Let me show you the cross where I'm there after 4 p.m. This is, again, all the videos regarding everything that happened at Rock of Faith on Thursday. That was 7 days ago, where they're accusing me of theft. I'm stealing from homeless people, okay? Not only am I stealing from homeless, I want their, excuse my French, I want their pissy, dirty, property, okay, that they steal from other people. I'm stealing from drug addicts, okay? I'm stealing from criminals. That's what I'm stealing from gang stalkers, and then I'm also documenting them. I'm stealing from and taking their pictures, okay? This is the fake sun. And this is where the U.S. military is stalking. And this is Rock of Faith, 325 West B Street, where they love you with the heart of Christ, right? And they growl at you and falsely accuse you and threaten to call the police on you and also deny you a meal as a homeless person. Those Christians under the fake sun, gang stalking with the Ontario police, who they refer to in their audible activity. Those Christians are going to prison. That's the long and short of what the U.S. military, these homosexuals that are psychotic, that's what they've accumulated, and they are going to be discharged in what is a military tribunal. In fact, this is their process of being discharged. They've been removed from an American citizen with the authority to do so. Okay, this is the entity that's gang stalking me. Far from what is, again, I'm far away from Ovid. And what are they doing at the same elevation? Engaging in what is cartwheels. This is engineer light over all the property, speaking to a population that is gang stalking. It is currently 6:04 a.m. Let's count the hours together. This cross on the top of Rock of Faith, meaning I'm standing there after 4 p.m. Let's count together. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3. 10 hours later is where a fake sun, not the natural environment, is over me, and a bunch of Satanists that are disguising themselves in a fake church that are gang stalking as a matter of public corruption with the homosexual psychopaths of military who are using planes with no passengers on them to stalk me, follow me around. And they're both getting each other in trouble. This is not the U.S. government that has any authority. They've been discharged. It's going to happen within the walls of a tribunal, a military tribunal. And they're getting committed. This is P.O.C. There is no amount of gang stalking that's going to make that anything other than what it is, the outward demonstration of severe mental instability with the people of the state who are losing their privileges to be on the roads and the highways. That is Southwest Airlines that's being federally prosecuted as well. The entire community. Okay, Southwest Airlines is stalking just like the demon in the previous plane doing a cartwheel. Southwest Airlines has still yet to engage in a takeoff. And Southwest Airlines is doing so under the fake sun, which you know is hovering over this same fake church at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 10 hours from now, which is the prosecution of Southwest Airlines. And no homosexual that is being discharged from the military is smarter than me. All you do and all you've done is dig that hole in the ground deeper and deeper. That's all you've done, and that's all you do. The more you're stalking, that's all you've done. This is the pattern of conduct. Southwest Airlines is dead as a company. They're dead. This is the P.O.C. I'm going to prosecute them. This is their prosecution. They're going to pay me, and then that company is dead. It is currently 6:06 a.m. This is P.O.C. I want you to see them flying over the opposite side. Remember, they're flying over Emporia Place when I'm on that side of the street. 8EGY162 is stalking. They will not be keeping a driver's license, and I'm going to prosecute them as terrorists, sex offenders. And the entity is flying on this side of the street. They're flying over Safeco. They're flying over Bonita. They're flying over L&R Auto Repair. They're flying over the subway and the Stater Brothers parking lot, okay? This is what they're doing while I'm in this side of the street. When I walk onto Holt Boulevard, they're flying on the opposite side. They're flying over Emporia Place. They're flying over the Auto Glass. They're flying on the opposite side of the street while they're moving as I move, stalking. 8EGV162 stalking, 9CCY655 stalking, and so is the fake sun. The fake sun is currently moving in the direction that is south. There you go. This is what the entity is doing. That's the stalking tactics of the commercial airline companies who are being prosecuted. They are the same entity as the U.S. government. Okay, this is the entity that is gang stalking. You're looking at what has the same airport, same two terminals. Southwest Airlines is not coming from Terminal 4, flying over the church. You're looking at progressive, ongoing stalking in the direction that I'm going. They are literally stalking. And that's the entity, that's Southwest Airlines, and Southwest Airlines was over there. So this is the P.O.C. Yeah, Omnitron's another corporate entity that is dead. They will not be on the roads and the highways. This is criminal activity, which is a threat to the public. It is mentally ill behavior. That is a basis to remove it altogether. It is serving the criminal pattern of conduct, which is a federal RICO case while they're engaging in this. The environment where they're doing that. You see this light activity? This inexplicable light activity right here? License plate 1545945, bus 2361. No sun that's remaining through the windows of any Omnitrans bus ever, contrary to what I'm subject to aboard those buses. This is criminal light activity, criminal presence in the path, the criminal operation of a business, a corporate entity that is gang stalking with the U.S. military, that is literally stalking as I am moving down the street. It's engineered light. This is engineered light. This is the entity. I was on this street in the afternoon yesterday. In the afternoon, you saw that coming from the laundromat. This is the same whole boulevard. Omnitrans is gang stalking, so are all the people of the state. And this is called psychopathic pacing. While they speak the truth about them being discharged, calling them out as the homosexuals, the psychopaths that they are, more and more planes, that's more and more demons. All the demons are being discharged and all of them are getting committed, okay? This is not Night of the Living Dead. And they're going to prison behind this. Delta Airlines is going to be prosecuted. Companies that are not going to make it. Southwest Airlines is going to be prosecuted. Omnitrans is being federally prosecuted. That's not a takeoff. This is speaking to gang stalking by Emporia Place. And you're looking at Southwest Airlines coming from the same terminal, same airport, right? Never having conducted a takeoff. Psychopathic pacing by the people. These are demons. They're all under martial law. They've reaped all. This is all martial law. This is a population that kills people. They're all psychopaths stalking an engineer light. It's a whole circus environment that you're ignorant about, that you don't even know anything about. While you're not paying attention, it's not because you're ignorant, it's not because you're a fool, it's because they're demons. And these demons are being put in their place. License 9YPG927, and you will be prosecuted as a co-conspirator of murder. There is no sun that is hunkered down so low on the same street that is reflecting off of the window and creating my shadow over here. This is demonic, and they're as equally idiotic as the light activity. These are clowns, they're demon-possessed clowns that are stalking in planes. This path right here is totally different from flying over the Ovid Family Community Library, which is much north. Not only that, they're stalking as I'm walking what is west. And as I'm walking west and what is south on Vine Avenue, so does the plane activity. As I'm showing in video after video, ongoing progressives, and the entities engaging in that while I point it out to you. The homosexuals of the U.S. military that clearly don't have any intelligence quotient, all right? You don't need intelligence, you just have to be bold enough to engage in what is idiotic conduct in the face of being wrong. They think if they do it louder, if they do it more frequently, then that's just going to, no, you're going to an institution, a mental institution, okay? And no homosexual activity is going to save you from that. None. You're going with HIV, many of you. You're going to go burning. This is the pattern of conduct. A bunch of demons that are the people of the state, they're being locked down. They're not being given the privilege anymore. This is criminal activity, and it's a threat to the public. What Omnitrans is doing, making $1, that business is over with. It's over. That's a privilege to drive. They've been engaged in what is profiting from criminal surveillance and furtherance of murder, including those drivers stalking me with the military in planes and helicopters, threatening my life while I'm on the bus, under the fake sun. That's the P.O.C. That's the mentally ill that just provided that. The impossible light activity, combined with the psychopathic pacing of the demons. It's the psychopathic pacing in the sky space. The same are stalking in smaller planes, are stalking in commercial planes that have no passengers. And since Delta Airlines and Southwest Airlines, United Airlines, American Airlines, Amazon, UPS, FedEx, the entity that's engaged in this providing planes to the military, they're being federally prosecuted as the terrorists that they are. They're being federally prosecuted as the terrorists that they are. P.O.C. license plate 57648 Victor 3. You have no constitutional protection to be in a specific environment, engaged in a privilege to be on the roads and the highways, while you're simultaneously engaging in the pattern of conduct that is in furtherance of the conspiracy to murder. And everybody knows that you're doing it now. And now you're going to prison and you will be locked down. This is the basis for martial law. This is for the protection of the American people. They're showing everybody how psychotic they are. I'm standing in the shade. You see the light activity. This is P.O.C. These are murderers and vagina monitors. They waste millions of dollars. Millions of dollars. Paul Leon, he's going to prison. This is P.O.C. It is currently 6:13 a.m. Alrighty, this is the entity that is stalking Ontario Village Shopping Center. Okay, this is the documentation regarding the people, because at some point Southwest Airlines is flying over the entrance doors while I'm walking outside of them. This is the entity that's not secretly or in any intelligent manner, in any stealth manner, covert manner stalking. And this is the entity that's engaging in the same exact thing at the Senior Center and at the Ontario City Hall. I am at the Ontario Village Shopping Center, and I'm capturing the fake sun like I'm capturing at 4 and 5 in the evening, where the city of Ontario is gang stalking. Paul Leon's being federally prosecuted. They use the utility vehicles. They use the blue vans for the senior citizens. Gang stalking, they use dumpster trucks. And this is criminal activity. This is stalking in a dumpster truck. Not only is their soul foul, their actual bodies are foul while they're stalking in dumpster trucks, not even focused on emptying the trash. I'm emptying the trash though, because they're going to prison. They're going from gang stalking in dumpster trucks to federal prison, particularly with regard to what is focusing on the mental instability, stalking with light, with the U.S. military that's stalking by planes that engage in an ongoing progression to be at the end. Brothers, while I'm walking in and out, while they're flying over here, when are they engaging in that? At what point is that? That's the entity that is clearly stalking, okay? That's the P.O.C. And by the way, this is the entity that has given up on any sort of secret maintenance of the system of gang stalking. These are demons that know that they're going to prison, but what they also need to know is that they're going to be locked down with martial law. This ongoing chaotic levying of war against American citizens, they're going to be under martial law. There will be no City of Ontario. The City of Ontario is being defunded as a criminal enterprise, sharing in the pattern of conduct with the U.S. military. The entities engaging in this outside of what is even published regarding flights to a destination. These planes don't have any passengers on them. The entities engaged in what is never having engaged in a takeoff. They're doing so under the fake sun. This is the fake sun at 6:18 a.m. So when I'm still here at 11 in the morning and Southwest Airlines, the same Southwest Airlines you saw flying north of Hope Boulevard and then south of Hope Boulevard from the same terminal, hovering while the fake sun moves as I move, which you know where this still over me at the Rock of Faith Church, where this entity that's stalking is the one that criminally defamed my character through a bunch of Satanists that gang stalk at fake churches. That one, the fake sun that's still here 10 hours later, is the one where they're flying over in this parking lot, where Southwest Airlines is hovering over the entrance. That's what the entity's engaging in. And they engage in what is incriminating. That's why all the employees are going to prison. This is the P.O.C. There's on the plane, and the corporate actors, every airline, they're being federally prosecuted for this. This is an admission. While the entity is using your plane and your logo, you are going to federal. I'm going to prosecute you. You need to understand that. And this is the entity that's engaging in what is desperation. This is desperation, and this is a concession. And it is a threat to the ordinary targeted individual. And this is Dee Dee's discounts. They're monitoring. The entire venue this is a serial stalker, 8DEM0. This is the one I've documented. She likes to engage in sexual assault and battery. This chunky face is a gang stalker at Dee Dee's discounts. She's engaged in routine surveillance with the people of the state. As I document her, this is a psychopath who looks to the left and right like she's ignorant while she's gang stalking, and that's going to have you committed. All right, this is the entity that's engaged in that, and she's routinely, it's not just Stater Brothers employees, it's just that I go to Stater Brothers and I'm documenting them up close and personal. She's going to prison. Okay? She's monitoring right now, and the government does not help you while it's gang stalking. The government gives me my case to prosecute you. This is the P.O.C. This is the entity stalking with impossible light, using the resources of the city. And Stater Brothers employees, they're all going to prison. That's why the fake sun is over me at this venue at 4 o'clock in the evening. FedEx is gang stalking via elite shipping after 4 o'clock in the evening, where this fake sun's in the same position, where the entities engage in what is psychopathic pacing now back on the opposite side of the street. They're over here now. And the entities doing cartwheels over here. So the City of Ontario to be around me stalking in the path with light. The people that say do the same thing without a dumpster truck and without police vehicles, for example, they do so by pacing all around in the engineer lights called light activity. Okay, creating flashing of light is light activity under a fake sun that you know is here 10 hours later, over 10 hours later. Okay, this is the P.O.C. All right, the entities engaged, I just want to be clear, this ongoing chaotic scene, this is relevant to prosecuting commercial airline companies regarding psychological torture, the U.S. military. These are the disgraceful homosexuals that are already being discharged. This evidence, they are discharged in the military tribunal, and it will be a matter of public information that they are discharged, that they're not threatening American citizens anymore, that they are not recognized as authority regarding the U.S. government, that they are being committed, that they're being federally prosecuted, and that they are holding hands with the corporate actors who are gang stalking with commercial planes. That's the whole reason why they did it. You were never supposed to believe that the target individual would claim that Southwest Airlines is stalking them, and because that's how the ordinary target individual will put it. And while they engage in that psychopathic behavior, you see very clearly Southwest Airlines, and that's exactly how it's going to be in a court. The caption is Southwest Airlines, and I'm going to sue them. This is the basis whereby you are being prosecuted while homosexuals that are psychotic are using your planes, and not unbeknownst to you. They're doing it in the specific environment, not unbeknownst to you. They're doing it with the people of the state who are equally engaging in that pattern of conduct, not unbeknownst to you. This is the P.O.C., and these are the corporate actors that are engaged in the pattern of conduct with the people of the state who are equally unintelligent. Dee Dee's discount employees are going to prison. All right, this is P.O.C. That was pacing right there. They're mentally ill. License 9XBW690. They're going to federal prison. This is the pattern of conduct. Stater Brothers employees are going to federal prison. This entire shopping plaza is gang stalking. It's a venue. Okay, it's a corporate actor. I'm speaking to, and that is not to exclude the rest of them, but I'm speaking to those that are serially stalking. She's engaged in conspicuous surveillance. She's sitting in the vehicle. She's operating her device. She's gang stalking right in front of the prosecutor. I'm going to prosecute her. She's representing what everybody else is going to get. Dee Dee's discount employees are going to prison, though. I've routinely documented them molesting me and stalking in the path, and doing so while the entity is sharing in this. The government comes around and stalks you and helps with light activity while you're molesting in the planes and you're going to prison. They're going to prison. All right, this is the P.O.C. It is currently 6:22 a.m. where this is a scene which I've documented many times. You can add in the sirens, you can add in the helicopter activity. This is relevant to what is a scene regarding levying war. It's psychological torture. What the entity is doing to itself is serving to prosecute and confirm. No, there's never been any exaggeration or engineering of any information, fabricating anything. The entity is literally stalking obsessively, and so they can control their facial expression to look in the opposite direction all they want. They are psychotic. They are obsessive, and this is what you're looking at when they're in the library. This is the same sort of fanatical conduct that they're engaging in exhibiting while they are stalking me, making sure that they stay around me, monitoring my every move, and they're doing so while they already know that they're being discharged. They already know that they're being committed. They already know that they're going to be impoverished and homeless, and that's if they're not going to prison. They are also aware of their ongoing progressive deterioration mentally. You are looking at crazy people who are demon possessed, who are stalking. That's what's rooted in what is this plain activity that is inexplicable. The courts that are looking at my videos that are uploaded to the social media it's a matter of judicial notice that they are stalking in planes. And to do so is likened to those that eat their own feces. These are psychotic criminals who are caught, and then they engage in maniacal behavior, no longer seeking to keep that mental illness closeted. This is the mentally ill that are triggered, in other words. And this ongoing scene of chaos, the loud dumpster, the light activity, and stalking in the surrounding conduct and the planes, like they're attacking with them. That's relevant to how you're going to prosecute. I'm going to prosecute you for that. That's psychologically torturous behavior while you are stalking me, and you're still stalking because you're mad that I prove that you're stalking me. You're psychotic. This is a discharge. You're no military personnel. You are clearly stalking, and you have admitted to stalking. And you admitted it to the American people who need to see this, and most importantly, you've admitted it to the tribunal who is going to have you discharged. Okay, you're being discharged, and you're being discharged so that you can get medical treatment, and you're going to prison, you're not getting out. This is the pattern of conduct. That sort of conduct, chasing down an American citizen, you need to understand that they do this as they intend to murder someone, and they typically accomplish that. You are seeing their barbaric behavior while I am exposing it to you in order to prosecute, and the people of the state share in those murders. This is surveillance. They do it under corporate entities. Oh no, they're not waiting to go in and clock in for work. They're engaging in surveillance under the fake sun. This is a matter of public corruption. All right, they're doing this while the entity, don't forget, is flying in helicopter where they work. They're doing in this while they're engaging in surveillance. These are murderers that are going to prison, systematically engaging in it, and that's exactly where they belong. They belong in prison, and that's where they're going. License 8DEM060 is literally stalking under the fake sun, because that's what you're doing. You are a stalker under the fake sun. This is the P.O.C. It is currently, by the way, where Union Pacific is aiding in the pattern of conduct with the people of the state who are going to prison. And this is speaking to the stalkers that are inside of Stater Brothers and that are in the parking lot, waiting to engage in what is crossing path with the military that are stalkers. And that's UPS, that's engaging that P.O.C. Okay, so I just want you to be clear, that grand deviation from flying over here to flying over this walkway as I walk out of where the entity is tracking my steps and monitoring my vagina on the inside. Yeah, this is the entity that is being discharged. Okay, they've been discharged by virtue of this prosecution that has been exposed and why it's spread on social media. This is the P.O.C. This is the entity that's gang stalking. The people of the state are sharing in the pattern of conduct. This chaotic scene, which is a crime scene, that is shared by the people of the state. Not normal, not law-abiding citizens, not sane, nothing other than demon-possessed as well. This is the P.O.C. It is currently 6:26 a.m. It is currently 7:18 a.m. It's Thursday, June 11, 2026. And the psychotic behavior of stalkers that make up what are the means of a public entity that is gang stalking, the corporate entity. the public entity. That includes the people of the state, the population, who are masquerading as private citizens. They are not. And they are not by virtue of their criminal engagement in the pattern of conduct, which they don't have to address or talk about while they abide by the code of conduct, by the P.O.C. There is an ongoing, established, and implied pattern of conduct. It is also expressly demonstrated while the entity is engaging in all manner of the P.O.C. by virtue of their speech and behavior. The entity that is stalking you in helicopter, that's beyond an implied. Under the law, whether you're talking about express and implied, that is very much an express engagement in the pattern, an express agreement, an expressed conspiracy to engage in the pattern of conduct. So this is what the entity is doing. While I'm inside of the Stater Brothers, that pattern of conduct does not have a pause. It doesn't stop. And that's also unreasonable to suggest that it does. But the facts are literally following as I document the POC. I remain with facts at all times. This workforce is going to prison. So this is Stater Brothers, and they're engaging in the pattern of conduct on behalf of the government. So this is not a private company. This is the corporate entity engaging in surveillance. And as a grocery store, you're going to prison. They're also going to prison because I am subject to stalking by helicopters. You're going to prison. The entity engaging in stalking with the Ontario Police Department, they're going to prison. The entity engaging in what is harassment upon gang stalking, you're going to prison. The entity engaging in what is poisoning me on behalf of the entity that's outside of the doors of the grocery store, not a prudent means of engaging in the pattern of conduct, because Stater Brothers employees are going to prison. All right, but based on what is a threat to the public, oh, you're engaging in surveillance and you think you're going to sell food to people. No, you're going to prison for that. That's going to disincentivize trying to murder people on behalf of the government. Like venues like Stater Brothers do, where I'm showing you and documenting the entity, a pattern of being poisoned, my food being tampered with, which is also evidence that is expressed more than implied that you are engaging in a pattern of conduct. You can look in whatever direction you want. You're going to be staring at a wall, stalking with noise and flashing with light inside of a mental institution. That's what's going to happen. So the entities engage in the POC, and they're doing so inside of the grocery store, which is a facilitating venue that's filled with engineered light. All right, I've already captured that, and it's atrocious, the level of evidence that they still show up to work and that the entity's stalking me outside of the doors of the wall. Where do you think that you are literally without a prayer? I'm not going anywhere. You're going to prison, though. You are absolutely going to prison. The entity relied on me being harmed in order to avoid that, and it's not happening. But the entity has engaged in what is ongoing acts of retaliation, poisoning my food because you're mad that I'm not going to die, because you're mad that I didn't lose my mind, because you're mad that I'm prosecuting you on social media. That's psychotic, by the way. Absolutely psychotic. The entities engaged in the POC inside of the Stater Brothers, nonetheless, is what I want to document. I'm capturing images, which you will see. I'm going to refer to timestamps for you. You can look at the Google Drive. The people of the state are in the grocery store in Engineer Light. This is not customers that are walking around shopping. This is not grocery shopping. This is pacing. This is the mentally ill that are engaged in the POC, and it's actually informative. It's relevant for study. You can literally study the mentally ill using the surveillance camera footage when you are aware of what they're actually doing and what they are relying on, an illusion that you would just be looking at the surface. This is how you're able to study the mentally ill and the system of gang stalking, the system, the satanic surveillance system, where actually everything that they're doing and the moment that they do it is pursuant to what is monitoring another person. They're all minding somebody else's business. In other words, all of them, every single last one of them. From the store manager, where you think that they're so important. No, they're not. And actually, no grocery store manager is that. Anyway, the entities engaging in, no matter what your position is, they're all monitoring spirits. They're all monitoring. And guess what? The manager is an engineer light, just like the flea-bitten homeless person that's walking in the same exact engineer light. They only want you to look at them differently. Or one rather than the other is more inclined. One that laughs longer, one that acts like they're oblivious to you. These are acts that are very unintelligent in the environment, very malicious. You're getting into legally relevant terms like psychopathic, like delusional. Okay, this is not under any circumstances helping you with regard to the evidence that does not erase, it doesn't go away because you're laughing out loud. It's called audible activity while you're engaged in criminal conduct, including while you're at work, you clock in and you are accumulating criminal charges. All right, this is the government's P.O.C. This is a facilitating venue. This is the entity that is outside of the doors of where you work. Reality check, you're going to prison. You're not getting away with any of that. You're going to prison. It's highly malicious. So inside of the grocery store, the people of the state are pacing. As you hear in the background, those are employees that are pacing. All right, that's the Stater Brothers that's engaging in the pattern of conduct. 7:18 a.m., you'll see the people of the state crossing path. They're doing so in engineer light. I'm showing the light activity while they're crossing path with me, the entity using the store alarm. This is what's happening at 7:15 and 22 seconds. On the communication device, store alarm goes off. Crossing path again at 7:14 and 14 seconds. This is a Latina female. The store alarm goes off. They're doing so in engineer light, and they're doing so based on my position. All right, so for example, where you're standing in a position, they're always engaging in the same elements. They're engaging in it. They'll use the PA system, in other words, or they'll use the store alarm, or they'll have somebody stand next to you and laugh loudly. They'll have a loud child. They'll have crashing noises, something falling on they're monitoring you, and they're doing so with regard to where you're located. So where I stood, they utilized the store alarm. I guess I'm standing in some sort of corner where they wanted to use that store because they weren't using it at the other Kelly, I believe is his name. I'm in the produce area, and they're monitoring by walking around, chit-chatting with each other. They're pacing, and they're engaging in surveillance together while I am looking at literally the produce, the foods that they have, and contemplating whether or not and how they would be tampering with it. That's literally what I'm doing. They're monitoring. They're stalking. And the customers come in to aid in that, right? And which is also why venues like Stater Brothers are being shut down. It's literally a waste of this is money that could be more usefully spent. This is literally property that could be more productively utilized by one that is not engaged in what is trying to zombify a population and target them and keep them under surveillance, including by tampering with your food. The entities engaging in the P.O.C. and Stater Brothers is literally, they are not indispensable. They're another business that will literally die. I will massacre it with a prosecution, and it will cease to exist. I'm very serious about that. Okay, so this is the entity that's showing how, as you are gang stalking, you show how easily replaceable you are, how unneeded you are. That's what you're doing while you're gang stalking as a business. You are showing and proving that you are unnecessary. Okay? The entity's engaging in that pattern of conduct, and they're doing so inside of Stater Brothers, and they're using the store alarm. So I just wanted to give that detail. They're monitoring on the inside. These are the demons that are stalking at the intersection in traffic. The more I document, the more arrive at the intersection, the more planes. These are demons that come inside of the grocery store, okay? This is the entity that is gang stalking, and this is how that criminal pattern of conduct follows into a building, which is, again, that entity that is in need of martial law. Okay, and those that are subject to martial law are absolutely unfit to be in any sort of food industry, serving food to the public. And they've exposed themselves in this regard. This is their own fault. So this is and it's providence. I mean, you should know that. And what I mean by that is, but for your gang stalking so much, no one would have realized that, oh, you know what? American society is better off without you. As a matter of fact, we're going, because you don't have a constitutional right under the federal government is under all circumstances fully empowered to cease to permit companies to exist, because it's not a matter of a constitutional right. This is not freedom of speech. This is criminal surveillance. You don't have a right to engage in it, and the federal government is absolutely empowered to shut it down. Absolutely. But anyway, the entities engage in this, and I am inside of the Stater Brothers, subject to the exact same pattern of conduct. The planes aren't inside of the store. The planes and the helicopters are above the store. You know what's going on. I've documented that as well. And that's why when you're acting like nothing's happening and you get louder with your laughs and, oh my gosh, that's so interesting, like nothing is happening, you're going to find yourself being committed. It's psychopathic behavior. It's not giving what you thought it was going to give. All right, this is the P.O.C. It's 7:28 a.m. and I'm subject to surveillance inside of a grocery store, which is an unprecedented means of a threat, and it's psychologically torturous behavior. This is P.O.C. All right, license 8 Edward George Victor 162 and Parkview Apartments. The manager's phone number 909-984-0587, but this is Parkview Apartments 332 San Antonio, license EN39 L63. License, psychopathic pacing, the same Latino couple you see gang stalking me. They're crossing path 81905 Yolanda 3. They're on video stalking around the corner and the fake sun is over me. I'm going to capture images. That's the evidence of them stalking while the fake sun is over me at two different places in the same person. It's the same entity. All right, this is P.O.C. The entity is engaged in what is stalking at the intersection while the entity has impulse lights sweeping all the way across the apartment building. And the entity is engaged in what is monitoring me, asking me anything, let alone while you're gang stalking under the fake sun. But this is the P.O.C. It is currently 8:30 a.m. So I'm just switching devices really quickly. And the entity's engaging in what is stalking, going to the stop signs, stalking in traffic. This is the entity that's going to be removed from the roads and the highways. They're engaging in surveillance on the roads and the highways. This is what they do as they engage in what is murdering you, stalking you, while they are conspiring your murder. This is the entity that's engaging in what is molestation via impossible light activity on the roads and the highways. This is what I already have in a wealth of evidence as well. This is what an entity, they're committing sexual assault and battery. And I want to be clear, the apartment complex itself, Parkview Village, I'm going to take an image of it because they're right here next to the James Bryant Park. The James Bryant Park, City of Ontario is over there gang stalking, okay? It's currently 8:31 a.m. I've already placed myself in entirely different locations, such as in Fontana, California, while I'm facing on Spring Street, the Fontana Lewis Library. The fake sun has it over me where sex offenders that are demon possessed are engaging in what is the sex offense on behalf of the government. 42206 Henry 2. They're doing so using vehicles while they're monitoring. This is also relevant to what is a threat and also that which is occurring while they are stalking you and molesting you and blinding you with impossible light while you're operating a vehicle. That's also one that is causing harm to the people, to American citizens that are being targeted. Moreover, they're literally on the roads and the highways stalking one person together, which is what is evident in my evidence as well. This is the entity that's going to be removed. There's martial law. They're removing businesses from existence. They are not going to be driving on the roads and the highways. This is the city of Ontario, but this is the state. And you're talking about what is not limited to any politician, some fire chief, police chief. I've shown how they're all gang stalking as well on the roads and the highways in the exact same manner. There's no difference. They're doing it as a population because the population is supposed to be the gang members that falsely depict that American citizen that would even assert that a police department is stalking or that someone within the community is stalking them, gang stalking them, targeting them or whatever. This is the entity that's engaged in that. I want to be clear. I'm going to go ahead and capture this fake sun right here at Parkview because this is where the non-English speaking couple are targeting while the entity, remember in the previous video where the entity is stalking, they're following me to the Ontario Village Shopping Center. They're following me to the, Stater Brothers, right? So they're flying over Hope Boulevard. They're flying over, then they cross the street, they fly over Emporia. All of that circus conduct that I documented. And then I said, at what point are they going to be at the entrance of the Stater Brothers? Because you're looking at the entity that's blatantly stalking. And you can see that ongoing progressive, that is evidence of stalking, as you look at my evidence, video by video by video. And this is the entity coming from the same, ostensibly, the same airport, the same terminals. Southwest Airlines, for example, Terminal 4. So where are you flying over 1444 North Euclid Avenue from Terminal 4? Where are you flying over 9th Street and Euclid Avenue in Upland, California from Terminal 44? Where are you flying toward landing or anything while you're hovering over Sierra Avenue and Orange Way in Fontana, California with the gang stalkers of the Fontana Police Department who are surrounded with the evidence of a fake sun from right now, sunrise, and to right now until sunset, where Southwest Airlines is in Fontana gang stalking me, and you have them flying over the entrance, over the parking lot, and UPS hovering over me in that parking lot. This is the entity that's engaged in that, and the people of the state are the terrorists that are stalking in commercial planes, and they're doing so while they are also touching. All right, this ridiculous light activity is the light activity to put mentally ill people away. Okay, their mental illness is one that they seek to cloak as a community. Everybody doesn't speak about their criminal activity. Everyone does not engage in what is addressing the target individual that complains of it. Everyone engages in what is falsely depicting the character together. And this is how gang members are engaging in criminal defamation as one, while they are absurdly psychotic. And this is relevant to what is the loss of the privileges of driving on the roads and the highways, where the roads and the highways are a crime scene, which is what California is. California is utilizing the roads and the highways to conduct surveillance 24 hours a day. My evidence establishes this, and the state of California is losing that privilege to drive. Okay, California is gang stalking. California, the Department of Motor Vehicles is gang stalking. Understand that while they're engaging in the criminal surveillance system. Martial law is comprehensively shutting down all of that, and this is where they're engaging in murdering people. They're not getting on the roads and the highways. They're not following anybody that is being removed from being targeted by the stalkers that are on the roads and the highways and in the sky space. This is P.O.C. It is currently, by the way, 8:35 a.m. Yeah, so I'm at Spring Street and Sierra Avenue at this time in Fontana, where the military is stalking, flying over, where 6 Henry Zebra Henry 815 is stalking at the James Bryant Park, which is where sexual assault and battery by a bunch of demons. When you're being touched mysteriously by light that's just flying in the air, that's a sex offense. And it's a sex offense committed by the government. Even though you don't even see the government anywhere. You don't see a police vehicle. You don't see a fire truck. You don't see a military jet, perhaps. You'll see the sun over you during the day. You'll see the moon over you at night. You'll see what is this impossible light activity. The government surrounds you. It's the people of the state. And they're demons. And they are being prosecuted as a community, as sex offenders. That's going to directly affect whether they have children in their custody, because they will not. This is going to directly affect whether their ability to go to work and keep the job that they have, especially as a sex offender and a terrorist. And this is exactly what is affecting what is the entity that is driving privileges while you're engaging in the sex offense, which the entire city of Ontario shares, including the city of Ontario, the demons themselves. They're in the city of Ontario vehicles, molesting me with impossible light. This is what the Ontario Police Department, the Ontario Fire Department, American Medical Response, they're losing privileges, which you are not even engaging with providing emergency services. You are gang stalking, and you're equally demon possessed as the people of the state. They were supposed to be the mask behind which the government is monitoring. There is no mask. There's no secret. There's also no basis for the entity to be continuously engaging in this on the roads and the highways. That's a privilege. And so is flying in and out of the state. You're flying in the state. They're not. They're permanently landed and they're parked. And this is what martial law is going to entail. This is the P.O.C. and the entity that's currently, they're discharged and they're still gang stalking. They're going to be in mental institutions, and so are the people of the state, following the lead of the demons that are gang stalking me. All right, this is the P.O.C. The people of the state are the zombies that are stalking me while I'm walking, and they're all touching together, engaging in a massive sex act that's exceedingly violent and demonic, psychologically torturous, while they're stalking. They're stalking while they're in custody and operation of a driver's license. In the state of California, you're losing it. And it's state action. The state of California, I just want to be clear on that, because that's exactly how it's going to be prosecuted. That's what's happening. This is the P.O.C. It is currently 8:38 a.m. at the James Bryant Park while I'm present in the evening in the fake sun. I've walked down D Street, UPS, Southwest Airlines stalking as I'm walking in a different direction, walking on D Street, walking in what is west on D Street, and the fake sun coming from the Ovid Family Community Library where it's sat all day, and the entity follows me as I'm walking west to this same park where I'm present at 8:38 in the morning, and the fake sun is still over me, and this entire neighborhood is gang stalking. This is the entire neighborhood that's engaging in that criminal system and furtherance of murder. And a population that's engaging in what is criminal activity trying to murder one person is levying war under Article 3, Section 3, and they're going to be subject to martial law. This is the P.O.C. It is currently 8:39 a.m. The license plate that I recited, 6 Henry Zebra Henry 815, is one of the demons that's engaging in what is terrorizing, criminally defaming, harassing, pursuant to obstruction of justice at Rock of Faith. The demons that engage in gang stalking as a fake church, which is nothing other than a business. That's the state's church, and it's a business, and those businesses are being put out. They're being removed. They're being put out of business. But this is the P.O.C., and that's where I'm at. He's going to prison. Okay, that's the P.O.C. It's 8:39 a.m. All right, and in particular, the specific demon that I'm documenting is the one that is on video holding up his middle finger at a church, which I want to be clear, this church member that's literally growling and barking in my face and admittedly engaging in a battery that he stated he doesn't care that he's touching me, that's a battery, while the fake sun is hovering over me on the grounds of that venue. This is the one that's holding up his middle finger. He's the one in particular. And I'm referencing where I'm at because all those demons on the grounds of that fake church know that he's holding up a middle finger. Under all circumstances, they're engaged in surveillance. Not only the behavior of those that are demonstrating they do not know Christ, okay? Even if there was no gang stalking and someone is a weirdo and they're just going around documenting, well, not documenting, going around, because you're not documenting if there's no, you're just going around using your phone and putting your phone in and taking pictures, getting on people's nerves or whatever, which is still, you're in public, so you go away if you, it doesn't matter. But say there's no gang stalking, there's no P.O.C, there's no documentation. What the entity is doing on the grounds of that so-called church, amongst those that supposedly love Christ and are showing the love of Christ, there is under no circumstances the behavior that I captured for them to behave in that way. And for you to think that that's okay for you to behave in that manner while you want to simultaneously represent yourself as being one that even knows Christ Jesus, period, let alone one that's in a position to lead others in that path, for them to have behaved like that. And by them, I don't mean the demons that are gang stalking as the homeless population with that fake church. I mean those that are serving them, because they're supposed to be playing a role. They're supposed to be Christians, showing the love of Christ by providing food to the homeless. All right, they're the hands and feet of the church. This is the role that these demons are playing. Their behavior, you'll know them and you'll know them by their deeds. And their deeds include the fake son and the stalking by the U.S. military. All right, their criminal acts, if I've documented, I told you what demons do, that they did it like clockwork. They did exactly what the P.O.C is. Okay, you'll know them, meaning them that claim that they are one thing, but their mouth betrays them. Okay, their behavior betrays them. Okay, so that's why he's growling in my face about that which is not even true after a prolonged absence and I haven't been there, which means you're behind my back gossiping, which is a spirit. I mean, you're talking about so much behind with regard to my ability to prosecute him under scripture and prosecute him under the law. So this is the entity that's gauged that. So he's holding up his middle finger, the one that's going to prison, and he's doing so while these so-called church leaders are aware of that. So you're understanding everything that's going on. They're monitored. They're one spirit. LA County Sheriff is gang stalking 1505, 1509513. Those are the demons that know that prison is coming. They know it's imminent. That's why they're gang stalked with Royal Construction at San Antonio Avenue and F Street. All right, the entities engaged in that pattern of conduct while they are targeting with the homosexuals that are stalking, showing that same mental illness. The Los Angeles Police Department, the Los Angeles County Sheriff, Robert Luna, this is the current demon in position. They are sharing a mental illness, and while LA County Sheriff comes to Ontario, California to gang stalk me, there's no sun over me at Alvarado Gardens in Los Angeles, where Robert Luna was gang stalking me in furtherance of murdering me. And he knows that. He's also aware of what's being published on the internet, and they are confirming that which I already proved single-handedly. That the sheriff is engaged in a conspiracy to murder while the sheriff maintained helicopter activity over my head, just like these homosexuals do in Ontario. Okay, Robert Luna is targeting with the U.S. military. Dominic Choi, Michael Moore, targeting with the U.S. military. Okay, so this is the entity that's engaged, and I'm referring to 2024, and even before 2024, before Michael Moore, thinking that you can retire out of, you're not retiring out of anything, sir, you're witnessing me prosecute you, and it's the same for Derek Williams. The entities engaged in this pattern of conduct, and I have evidence of the city of Los Angeles, just like they're coming to San Bernardino County under a fake sun, which is speaking to what I maintain evidence of LA gang stalking with the military who are being discharged as mentally ill, terrorists, violent sex offenders, psychotic. This is what you're getting from this ridiculous circus-like plane activity, this chaotic environment that they're stalking me with. 7TJH890, and this is the entity that's engaging what is providing proof that they are indeed mentally ill. And this is relevant to the demons that are claiming that they're Christians, and no, they're not. And you know them very clearly, especially when they're barking in my face regarding whether it's true or not, because that's not the issue there. That's not the issue there. There's absolutely no basis for that behavior based on what they're claiming that you are. If you're Satanist like everybody else, okay, that's another thing. Oh, but you're claiming you're Christians. Oh, in fact, you're on the internet. You're on the internet talking about you love Christ. You love Christ and there's nothing that they can do about it. Okay, so we're going to recall that when you look at that violence that I'm subject to. So you're welcoming, you're going to call the police off of what? Because I'm in custody of my phone? Because I'm merely holding it. Because other people have stated to you, well, I haven't been there over a month. So why am I even a topic of discussion? And this is assuming that it's true. You don't have to hear anything. That's why the fake sun is over me after 4 o'clock in the evening, and it's over at 7 o'clock in the morning. They're lying demons. And as you lie, you're exhibiting psychopathic disorders, by the way. I hope that you understand that in the same way that the Los Angeles County Sheriff is coming all the way to, how do you know that Los Angeles County Sheriff is stalking me? Because the fake sun is over me while you're crossing path in that vehicle. I'm that important. And the reason why I'm that important is because I have exposed the demons that are running for office, i.e. Robert Luna, that have been engaged in murdering people. Los Angeles, very violent. Those demons are out of control. Those are serial killers. Just like the U.S. military, just like the demons out here, but it's a different type of demonic entity. The legions, the violence you're talking about in different territories, and the level of corruption, which is criminal activity, which is demonic activity that's underway. And in Los Angeles, it's at an accelerated, more intensified rate. And this is where you have LAPD running over the young man in the middle of the street. And then turning on their sirens. This is surveillance on the roads and the highways that was not an accident. And even as you dissect those facts, which I've already done that, it is not an accident. And with regard to the pattern of conduct that LAPD is engaged in as a matter of evidence, it is not an accident. That was murder. This is how the entity engages in that. The same people in the state that are gang stalking are the ones that are a part of murder as an entity. And LAPD isn't investigating anything. They don't even have authority under the law. And the same thing with Robert Luna and the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, who come to gang stalk me with royal construction. Pay attention to my evidence. Today, which being 6/10, June 10, 2026, June 9th, 2026, where I'm documenting the entity gang stalking by royal construction, and I consistently document so that you see the pattern. When I pass by that gang stalking company that's engaging in monitoring with all the rest of the neighborhood under the fake sun, with the entity stalking by helicopter, while the entity maintains the pattern of conduct, and the entity crosses path this morning while I'm documenting this venue, and LA County Sheriff injects itself into the fact pattern, where I'm in San Bernardino County, and they have enough to deal with because there's no sun that's going to rise and set over Alvarado Gardens, which is the prosecution of those terrorists, including Karen Bass. Okay, license 5, Mary Xavier Victor 103. I just want to document that these are demons that are monitoring. Let me go ahead and capture images of this really quick. The fake sun is moving as I move, and there is no sun that's going to be remaining in the natural environment, remaining over any sheriff department vehicle. The fake sun that's over me at the sheriff's county department in Pomona, California. The sheriff that is gang stalking me by helicopter, as I recall my evidence, as I refer to it while I'm in Pomona, and I refer, look at the evidence, look at the analysis that I provide, because everything I speak to is provided, it's supported with evidence. Okay, it's not just one video of the entity that's engaging what is crossing a path. Even though I know that that's the truth, that if you are engaging in it one time, you are engaging in the pattern of conduct, you have to prove with evidence when you're prosecuting, because I'm not just exposing and I'm not just calling out demons, I'm prosecuting under the law, and there is a body of evidence that the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, that the Los Angeles County Police Department, that the city of Los Angeles County is gang stalking, which is the state of California. All right, they're engaging in that, and they do so while I am aboard public transportation. They do so while I am working, employed. They are a part of Hazelwood, the Ontario Police Department kidnapping. This is one entity. So this entity is engaging in what is targeting me in order to falsely depict my character after I resigned. And I resigned pursuant to what that gang stalking court, this gang stalking system wants to disregard. Oh, you were stalking me by helicopters day and night. Maybe that's why she resigned. Oh, you were threatening my life and psychologically torturing like LA County Sheriff still is. Maybe that has something to do with why she's not working there anymore for her own protection. The entity leaves that part out while Tracy Banks is having sex with everybody that's perjuring themselves in the courtroom. They're leaving that part out as well while they're lying on my character about things that they literally have to make up while they're engaging in what is gang stalking the entire time.
And they are targeting with these homosexuals who are being discharged, stalking me in planes and helicopters. This is exactly what was happening in the workplace. Where speaker companies, that's another group of employees, they're all going to prison while LA County Sheriff comes out and reminds you about what people who are going to federal prison, because it's the same P.O.C. in LA, which I already documented. It's the same pattern of conduct. Monitoring me in my apartment. By the way, LA County Sheriff sex offenders, Robert Luna sex offenders, putting cameras, watching me in the nude, making money off of it on the internet. Oh, it's not just the sex offender, it's not just the pedophile, Tracy Banks and the entity that physically puts the camera in my home. It's not just speaker companies that's permitting that. The people that say that are monitoring together, aware when cameras are put in my home. It's the entity, it's the government. It's the same one that's stalking me by helicopter over the top of my apartment while they sit around masturbating, watching me in the nude, and engaging in watching me document them using my phone in my apartment while they're monitoring with cameras inside of my apartment at the same time. And they also like to get off and watching me indisposed. That's a sex offender that is the Los Angeles County Sheriff. They're gang stalking while I'm aboard Omnitrans. That's a prosecution of Omnitrans. They're gang stalking while I am at the Rancho Cucamonga Superior Court aboard Omnitrans in the afternoon. That's a prosecution of both, all of them at the same time. They are gang stalking in Upland, California under the fake sun. All right, they're gang stalking while I am in Los Angeles as well. There's only one sun. And based on the prosecution of the city of Los Angeles, of a gang stalking mayor like Karen Bass, that's engaging in what is criminal surveillance, funding it, a terrorist leader, and engaging in what is that POC in the workplace, literally engaged in what is organizing that means of targeting me after being kidnapped by Ontario Police Department, interfering with my liberty right to be free from terrorism in the workplace. The entities engaging in what is stalking me at Speaker Companies Inc. Alvarado Gardens, where I am the property manager, and these demons, these vagina monitors, were gang stalking me. All right, and it's the same thing as a practicing attorney. These vagina monitors were targeting me, and they have no attorney-client privilege. Those are federal charges that are coming. I have all of their names. I have all of their names that were gang stalking me, with the city of LA following me to every courthouse, gang stalking at every courthouse, and so were the gang stalking judges. Okay? This is the entity that's engaged in that POC. This is the exact same pattern of conduct while I am practicing law, and I maintain an ongoing diligent record, which is published for your ability to see it. The names of the courthouses, the judges that I stood before, the gang stalking clients who are engaged in targeting me while I'm working, practicing law with the law offices of Michael Bialis and LA County Sheriff and the Los Angeles Police Department gang stalking just like they are now. All right, because the suicidal are engaging in the provision of evidence, and this is relevant to an entity that could never defame my character based on facts. Never. You can never. And by the way, when you are so illegitimate, when you are so unreliable because you're so unstable, you don't have any basis to defame anyone. In fact, you are in need of attention of a psychiatric nature. You're not even in a position, not only has it been disproven, they're not even in a position to assess anyone psychologically, and with regard to any psychiatric disorder, while you are mentally ill, engaging in criminal activity that you don't want to know, that you don't want anyone else to know about. And then when it's exposed, like I'm showing you, so now you're just going to do it in front of everybody? Oh, because that was a plan the whole time, right? All right, you're going to gang stalk them because that's what they're doing. Because they are mentally ill. And this, I want to be clear, this ongoing mental deterioration, it's not just regional, it's not just here. The entire state of California is where I'm prosecuting, true. That's where I'm located. But understand, this is spiritual. There are demons that have been targeting me who physically live outside of the U.S. There are those that I have never met. Obviously you know that because they're gang stalking. I don't know these white people that are gang stalking me. I don't know these non-English speaking Latinos and Asians that are gang stalking, engaging in the same exact pattern of conduct. I don't know these people. And they are clearly stalking, and nobody is imagining that. No one's hallucinating. And in other words, none of you are mentally ill while you are witnessing the evidence, that which the entity is defaming your character. This is how this system operates. Oh no, that's not happening and you're mentally ill. That's literally that's the long and short of how their system operates. And they're getting locked up into mental institutions behind that. They've murdered people under that illusion. They've kidnapped people, stolen from them before doing so under that illusion. They've engaged in capital punishment, the death penalty. using that illusion. This is the entity that's engaged in this. So this ongoing animalistic behavior, these gargoyles, these light-slinging demons, these vagina monitors, who are so hostile because they're being put in and being assessed based on the truth. They're creatures. They're all creatures. They're engaged in that, and guess what? The creatures are driving around in Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department vehicles, spending a lot of gas and using the resources to engage in the pattern of conduct. This is the evidence that you're going to refer to. Los Angeles County Sheriff has a history of gang stalking me, and doing so while I would travel from Ontario into Upland and got aboard Metrolink, that's gang stalking, where the entity kept the fake son, and this entity, I want to be clear, engaged in what is removing evidence. Evidence that is still reliable based on my addressing it, and other evidence that remains, but removing it based on knowledge that I got you. Yeah, I got you, and you're not avoiding anything. This is what's so sad. You're not avoiding, and you're certainly not avoiding anything when you're still doing acrobats and planes and helicopters. What flight destination are you headed to when you're doing that? These are the things that are a matter of a judicial notice. When you are engaging in what one moment you want to be taken seriously, and then the other, everyone is holding back laughter because you look so psychotic. This is pathetic. This is not serious. And these are not any sort of authoritative figures. They're being exposed for the creatures that they are. They're not police officers. They're not engaged in law enforcement. These are not sheriffs, deputies. All right? These are not chiefs. These are not heads of departments. These are demons. They're gargoyles. They're creatures. And they're mad and triggered because I'm calling it accordingly. And this is exactly why they targeted me. Because they knew that I know that, and not only, it's not a matter of what you know, it's what you can prove. They know that I have the ability to prove that. They know when I tell you, you're going to listen. That's what's so threatening. And because you targeted in those positions, this becomes an act of war. Okay, this is what happens when you're ignorant and you don't understand what you've just opened up. That's what happens when you're ignorant, when you're criminal, when you're corrupt, when you're psychotic, and when you're ignorant. That's a horrible combination of ingredients. That's what is the state of California. Stalking me on San Antonio Boulevard, doing so in a Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department vehicle. Robert Luna is another terrorist leader that I have fully documented in Los Angeles, as I referred to the gang stalkers even in Ontario. This is the entity that's gang stalking, and I want to be clear. Every single last one is a means of getting one more terrorist off the road. All the means of identifying them, they are going to prison. And not only that, it's not just me trying to get this license plate, that license plate. They're going to produce their identity. And they're going to find out who's going to prison if you think you're going to refuse producing identities in a military tribunal. They're delusional. All right? They're going to get it together real quick, though. All right? Because you won't be sounding any sirens in the court. All right? You won't be stalking with any impossible light activity in the court. You won't be standing there digging in your bottom, eating your feces in the court. You're going to want them to take you seriously. You're going to want them to not look at you as though you're unstable. And it's too late for that, by the way. It's too late for that. This is the entity that is gang stalking, so I want to be clear. You take very much you take very much from LA County Sheriff going out of their way stalking, because they're all stalking. LA County Sheriff went out of its way to come stalk me out here, which is speaking to what they're already on the record doing in helicopters throughout Los Angeles County, in Pomona, California, flying over me in the middle of the street while I'm driving in West Covina, California, fake sun over me and everything. LA County Sheriff, I'm prosecuting you. You come out to Ontario and show how bothered you are. I'm prosecuting you though. You're not staying in office. You're winning some election, or so you think. That's a setup for you to be widely exposed when you're removed from office. You are not staying in office. And this is not a game. This is the entity that's engaging in that. This is the entity that is surrounded by evidence, and these gargoyles out here are engaging in a pattern of conduct where demons before them have already taken that fault. Their prosecution, their conviction is already complete. And they're engaging in the same conduct. Because these are demons, they don't think. It's not their job to think. They don't think. They monitor. They're bots. They're zombies. Okay? And so are the demons in fake churches, engaging in that abuse. And doing so in the name of Jesus? Oh, no. You don't know Jesus. You don't know Jesus at all, which is relevant context regarding the entirety of the pattern of conduct. They're fake Christians, they're fake police officers, they're fake fire departments, they're fake families, There are a bunch of demons that use that illusion to target one person because, and where is that coming from? Because in your mind subconsciously, you cannot fathom that a whole family and also parents are instilling in children, are engaging in holding hands with children in what is demonic, in what is criminal, what is perverted, what is unfathomable, in concert with a government, because you can't fathom that in your mind. Satan is exploiting your preconditioned notions, your preconceived notions, excuse me. He's exploiting that. These are demons. They're demons. Demons that are procreating, unfortunately, and they are engaging in targeting at all levels that they can. At 7, gang stalking in the ways that they can at 7, gang stalking at 14, gang stalking at 32 with 2.5 kids, gang stalking regarding whatever position that they hold in life, which they're only holding to engage in the pattern of conduct. The United States is engaging in the P.O.C. And while the entity spends thousands and thousands of dollars, all those points that you saw gang stalking me as I go from one place to another, you know how much money that is? It's a lot of money. That's speaking to the ongoing loss. And while they have lost in front of all of you, they've humiliated, they've shown how psychotic they are. And it is for your benefit, all of you witnesses, that California, and that's exactly what's happening, California is going to be locked down, separated from the rest of the country with regard to acknowledging that they are terrorists and they are unstable people who threaten the lives of each other and themselves on the roads and the highways and the sky space. Literally, as they are engaging in all the ways in which I'm showing you, they're poisoning the food. They're stalking while they're even driving. Even while they're away from you, meaning at a distance, not touching you, acknowledging you, you're being accosted in one way or another. While they're monitoring you, something that you have to learn about, even to understand how it's harmful to you, how it's a violation of your rights, human rights, let alone your constitutional rights. This is the entity that's engaged in that. Los Angeles County Sheriff, they engage in barbaric behaviors in the facilities that are maintained in Los Angeles. All right, it's not different with Stacy Dykes out here in San Bernardino County, but like I said, the territories, the demons, you're talking about the demon possessed that have graduated to different varying levels of wickedness. Okay, so they're very violent in Los Angeles. All right, it's another level of evil in Los Angeles County, and the entity is very much aware, all of the entity. I went to Las Vegas, Nevada. Nevada is very much paying attention to what it is that I'm exposing and how it's fitting into the greater pattern of conduct, and they're hostile demons. All right, you're dealing with what is a personality. It is Satan that's using a population, which becomes terrorism. While all those people that are demon-possessed are engaging in the pattern of conduct, and they're doing it in an obvious manner. All right, so I just want to be clear, Royal Construction, they're a little mom and pop, nobody company, and that's exactly what's going to happen. I'm going to prosecute them, and they're going to compensate me the little bit of dimes that they have for engaging in what is systematic monitoring, doing so while they're gang stalking with the people, doing so with the Ontario Police Department, I documented, doing so with the U.S. military in planes and in helicopters, doing so with Los Angeles County Sheriff today, which is documented in this podcast. All right, they're doing so under the fake sun. And I'm just documenting that because those demons are using what is also a business while they're engaged in the P.O.C. I'll prosecute that business as well. All right, this is the entity that's here. I want to document LA County Sheriff and that license plate that I recited. It is currently, let me get the time, 9:04 a.m. So as I referred to, obviously I can't make up a license plate, so I'm witnessing the entity engaging in the criminal pattern of conduct while I am in custody of my phone, and I read that license plate. It is a black and white. They are driving on San Antonio, as I recited that podcast. This is evidence that's going to be equally probative in the court, in the military tribunal, because this is the court. But they are driving, stalking under the fake sun on San Antonio, where, you know, I'm on this same street in the afternoon. I just documented that yesterday. And the entity is stalking where I am on this same street where Los Angeles County Sheriff is going out of its way. Understand that's a threat while the government goes out of its way to target you. And there's no mystery here. And oh, well, yes, you can. Science is showing that LA County Sheriff is specifically stalking me. In concert with, by the way, with all the rest of them that are already proven to be stalking me as well. They are in the same exact pattern of conduct. Engaged in the same exact pattern of conduct, stalking with light, a creature, a gargoyle, and then they drive by in a sheriff's department vehicle. If Satan is not clearly letting you know who he is, because this is what you need to pay attention to. This is the entity that's engaged in that, and the Los Angeles County Sheriff crosses path on San Antonio. Doing so, they are driving south. They're driving south on San Antonio at the moment that I recite that license plate. They're crossing path at the intersection. I recited it at that time. It's for Royal Construction. And I'm referring to Royal Construction because I keep taking pictures of that venue, of that business sign, because I'm going to prosecute the demons, their license plates. I'm going to prosecute that address. And it's not just them, but I'm targeting that location while they're engaging what is leading that P.O.C. And LA County Sheriff coming in and engaging in it is not helping you. That Upland Police coming to Ontario is not helping you. Ontario gang stalking like they always are, that's never helping you. The U.S. military, these suicidal homosexuals that are being discharged publicly, that's not helping you. And I will prosecute this little mom and pop nothing of a company that's literally worthless, and I'm going to prosecute and prove that because you're going to pay me and then you're going to cease to exist as a corporation while they're gang stalking with LA County Sheriff. That's the license plate that I recited, and they're stalking, like I said, under the fake sun that is remaining over me. And like I stated already before, I'm in Fontana, California. I'm also living at Alvarado Gardens, since LA County Sheriff wants to remind you about that they are already prosecuted. Los Angeles County Sheriff are a bunch of gargoyles wearing uniforms that represent a position that they are mentally unfit, not only because they're criminals, because they are mentally ill. They're demons. And so this is the breakdown of Satan's entire system. That's why on March 22nd, 2022, they're stalking me in Los Angeles at the Pomona Regional Transit Center during the 9 a.m. hour. It's evidence that those demons can never erase, ever. And coming to Ontario, where you're relying on the sun rising and setting at Alvarado Gardens, you are contending with evidence about you already on the record. That's an entity that is demonic, that is suicidal, that is desperate, and that is hostile. And because there is no way to get out of the P.O.C., you just engage in more criminal activity. That's the entity that's hovering over the parking lot by UPS plane. That's the entity that's doing cartwheels, stalking in Delta Airlines, Southwest Airlines planes. That's the entity that's stalking more and more with more planes. The frequency heightens, in other words, as every syllable that comes out of my mouth is indicting them, okay? And it's the same with the people of the state. The light activity, you're engaging in violence. And they do so because they're demons that are hostile. Because, in other words, and how does that translate with regard to the medical field that's concerned with what are the behavioral health issues that are presented? What do you do with that demonic conduct, which you are aware is real? It's tangible evidence. It's mental illness. That's what it is. It's relevant for you to assess psychopathic disorders of people that are targeting and acting like they're not. And they are all in agreement in that behavior. They conduct this as a means of a matter of public corruption. That's what the medical field does with this malicious conduct, and it's shared by those that are in law enforcement that are being removed, and it includes Los Angeles County Sheriff. This is the P.O.C. I'm at the Episcopal Church, and this is where I was at yesterday in the afternoon. I'm going to take pictures of it because you'll see in the afternoon, while I'm standing on the opposite side, this is called Christ Church, Ontario. The city of Ontario is stalking in a dumpster truck, maintaining light activity, while psychopathic pacing is what you recognize when the entity is not only maintaining light activity, but as I give you context, the fake sun that's over me in the morning is the fake sun that's over me yesterday in the afternoon as well, while I was at the same location. And this is the mentally ill criminal conduct that the Los Angeles County Sheriff is participating in because they're hostile demons. The entity that's hostile is the entity of demons that are mad because they're scared. Okay, so you're talking about what are mentally ill people. They experience fear by engaging in more harm to other people. So when they want to cry and they're scared, they will engage in physically harming you and trying to psychologically harm you in some way. That's how demons, that's how mentally ill, that's how psychopaths behave. And when you have a population engaging in that conduct, you're talking about what is a threat to themselves and the public. But that's literally what's going on. The entity is fearful, they're scared, and they have every reason to be. They have every reason to be. In fact, if they were intelligent and they were actually elite and capable, then they would have noticed that this was coming a long time ago. In fact, if they were actually magical, if they had any spiritual power and or authority, then they would have known that this was coming. But they don't. They do not. They do not. All right, so they're engaging what is sticking my feet with needles at night. Okay, praying to Satan that cannot do anything, because God certainly isn't listening. Okay, while they're engaging what is accumulating criminal charges for people like Tracy who want to find a way, and there's no way she's going to prison for all of it. All of it. She's going to federal prison. Eric Spencer's going to federal prison for every single last ounce of it. They're all going to prison, all of them. You sat in court, you've got the Los Angeles County Sheriff gang stalking me, and you perjured yourself in court because you thought that gang stalking me with these animals was going to make your credible testimony seem like it was something of veracity, like it was true. because their gang stalking was supposed to be, or what is actually them pursuing me because I'm a criminal, because I'm mentally ill. And no. You're going to prison. And nobody is deceived by that. Everyone knows exactly what you were doing. And in fact, I've even provided a tutorial. It is literally a study amongst a repository of evidence speaking to what is ceaseless confirmation regarding the truth that I speak, and no reason to lie about it at all. In fact, there are others that know exactly what it is that they've been subject to, and they didn't have the terminology. They didn't have the naming convention, all right? They didn't have the discernment to put their finger on it. They didn't know what they were subject to, even perhaps questioning their own mental stability, and there's nothing wrong with them. This is what they're subject to, okay? This is the entity that's going to prison. They're going to prison. I mean, you're talking about former co-workers. You're talking about company-wide. I'm talking about Ovid Family Community Library, Fontana Lewis Library, Chino Branch Library. Don't forget about those demons. They engaged in criminal summoning. Nobody's forgotten. You do not get lost in the trees. Don't get lost. You committed the crime. You are doing the time. You're doing it. This is terrorism. This is not stealing candy bars from the grocery store. You're going to prison. And I'm getting justice for all of that. You did a lot, and you're going to suffer a lot. While Los Angeles County Sheriff wants to come out here because they're scared. That's why. They're scared. And the more they do that, the more that you see that they're gang stalking me in LA, because there's only one son. And the asininity that I got on video in LA, oh no, Robert Luna's not staying in office. The current gang stalker over the Los Angeles Police Department is not staying in position. That's not a police department. That's not a sheriff's department. They're engaged in surveillance. And you know that while the puppets out in San Bernardino County are mimicking the same P.O.C., which is impossible to be the case. It's impossible that they would have that in common. But for the P.O.C., which I have shown you is supernatural. It is no less of a criminal pattern of conduct to prosecute you within the walls of a military tribunal. This is the P.O.C. So I just want to be clear on that. And this is going right back to what I was speaking to. The fake Christians that are monitoring me, gang stalking me, and attacking and harassing me, clearly showing that they're not believers. You already know that because they're under the fake sun, but I can give you ongoing practical information that does not contradict Scripture. In fact, this is exactly what the Bible talks about. This is exactly what they talk about. The behavior of these demons that are engaged in criminal activity. Oh no, I'm not just calling you out before the church. I'm prosecuting you before the court. I'm prosecuting you. Because you're going to watch your mouth. You're already surrounded. You're already being prosecuted. So now everything that comes out of your face, you can behave like there's no consequences because you care about what all the rest of these felons think. They all think you're stupid if you say it because they're all scared too. All right? And this is not about ego. This is about authority that you don't have. Satan doesn't have authority because he's engaging in what is gang stalking. Because that's what Satan wants. He wants to dress up like a cowboy and hold out his pistol and tell you to freeze. That's what these gang stalking police officers are. It's Satan. Now, the spiritual truth is that Satan doesn't have authority. And this is being rectified in the physical, in life, here in 3D on earth. They don't have authority. They literally don't have authority under the law. You have no authority also when you are the criminal. This is that pattern of conduct, and this is the reality. The reality that even chimes in. It is congruent with what our spiritual truths. This is why they're engaged in criminal activity. They don't have authority. It's Satan. Satan has no authority. So you try to just usurp it? No, that's called a kidnapping. You're going to prison. Oh, you think you're just going to stalk somebody and hide behind a police vehicle? You are going to find yourself in an institution. Very dangerous. Very dangerous. And you know what? You're going to literally witness that happen because there are far too many demons that still don't take it seriously. And they're still testing that policy, and you're going straight to an institution. I kid you not. It's going to happen. This is the P.O.C. The entity's engaged in that pattern of conduct, and you have the entity that is gang stalking. So that's what I was referring to. The demon in particular with the cream Galant. I think it's a Hyundai Galant. All right, some rusty, crusty machine. Gang stalking at the laundromat yesterday. The laundromat that I left, and I walked down this same intersection. I crossed San Antonio in the afternoon, where the fake sun is over me at the same intersection, where Los Angeles County Sheriff comes out to engage in the pattern of conduct. And under the law, that's a threat. Okay, I laugh at threats and I prosecute for it, but the ordinary target individual is being threatened by that. I don't know who you think you're threatening, but that's a charge, and that's the whole department's pattern of conduct. The pattern of conduct by that department that's already on the record. Stalking me in Los Angeles County Sheriff Department helicopters. Doing so on the roads and the highways, doing so in the workplace. And then you have a vagina monitor like Hazelwood and Owens talking about I'm violating the municipal code when you've got Robert Luna and Dominic Choi interfering with my liberty right to work so that I'll be in that position, so that their demon-possessed brethren in Ontario can kidnap me while I'm sleeping outside. That's exactly how their criminal system is supposed to operate. I just want to be clear, you're going to prison, honey. You're going to prison. And on top of that, you see these demons having a field day pacing in the engineer light with the people of the state while they're talking about law that they can't even define, they can't even comply with. And then they're mad, engaging what is harassing me more because I embarrass them, because they can't even do their job, because they're not even interested in the actual law in the first place. And I don't care that you're humiliated while I call out that's not even relevant here. I'm not even addressing the fact that you're a gang stalker, but it's not even relevant. That's the entities engaging in that pattern of conduct. This is the history that you've already witnessed. All right, Hazelwood with the warts all over his head. He's a psycho, he's a demon, he's very mentally ill. And so is Owens. So is that entire department. And they are engaging what is their demons, who are exceedingly hostile, is Satan. Satan is the one that's very hostile with me. Very hostile. Do you know how under the Constitution, you have a whole bunch of hostile stalkers that are calling themselves a police department? No. They're all stalkers. They're all stalkers. And they incentivize stalking by the people. And they are doing so literally at the Ontario Police Department on being gang stalked under the fake sun. This is going to result in what are actual mental institutions, because there are demons out there that think that it's not really going to happen. And it's already done. It is absolutely happening. And you're going to witness it for your own benefit. Because if you repeat it, it's going to happen to you too. You're not engaged in law enforcement. And they know who you are. Those who are serving, they know exactly who you are. They know how you behave. They know your code of conduct. You've been fully exposed. And you will be in a mental institution. You will be on 23-hour lockdown. You will be in federal prison. You will be fired summarily. No final check. No 401k. No retirement. You're not getting any of that. You are a terrorist. Everything that you're accustomed to as a police officer, one engaged, that's not that. That's not what this is. You're a terrorist, it's over. All of it is over. All of it is over. The entities engage in this conduct, and they're doing so while they are gang stalking, and the entity is subjecting itself to its own exposure. You're the one that thinks it's a good idea at this juncture in the evidence to engage in what is flipping and U-turning and cartwheeling in planes and helicopters, where no person is ever going to be viewed as mentally ill under those circumstances when they are making the very allegations that they are being targeted in unheard of ways. Such as with impossible light, such as being under the fake sun, such as with planes and helicopters, as the City of Los Angeles, County of Los Angeles, and San Bernardino County share in the pattern of conduct. All right? And the entity went to the extent, I want to be clear, there are vagina monitors in LA. Robert Luna is one that has a higher education. So these are demons that know very well that it's unlawful to understand what psychopathic disorders are. That's not mental illness where you lack the ability to appreciate the criminality of your acts and your conduct and your behavior. To the contrary, like I said, these are sociopaths. They get into this industry to commit criminal conduct, to maintain a system. They're considered skillful, where they are leading these departments that are engaging in this criminal system. That's who gets hired to hold that position. The one that is skillfully maintaining that bully system, all right, without any hiccups. They're making it look like law enforcement when they're engaged in state surveillance. And what I'm showing you is that they can try to make it look like whatever you want. There is nothing that is even remotely similar regarding what they're actually doing, because you're not looking at it through the veil anymore. You're not looking at their illusions that they present to you. They can't make it look like anything other than what it is. And all you see are the mentally ill that are engaging in an act, and we are all looking at them acting. And this is how they're going to wind up being institutionalized. This is the P.O.C. I don't care how serious or how authoritative you think you look in the sheriff's department. When I capture the impossible light activity dragging behind that vehicle, you need to understand what's going to happen to you. You need to understand that. While it's occurring with the vehicle behind you, and the demons are gang stalking with you, and you think that it's different, oh, your car's not doing, but the car behind and the car beside, or the block before I encountered you, under the fake sun that's over everybody else, but it's supposed to be a sun. You need to understand what's going to happen to you. These are demons that are delusional. They are delusional. And you are witnessing the ongoing deterioration of a population that's been playing in dark spirits for far too long. In fact, they're in denial about what they know exactly is going to happen. What's happening to them already? Not only, I'm not just talking about the fact that they're crying about and scared about going to prison and being committed, because they are, and being discharged and being humiliated because they're concerned about how they look. Right? And nobody cares about how they look. Only them. They're the only ones concerned about that. You look like a stalker. Okay, straight up, you look like a psychopath. You look like a sex offender that people want to shield their children from. That's what you look like. Number one. Number two, they're only concerned about an appearance. This is the whole system relies on illusions. No matter how much an American citizen that's screaming up and down, they're stalking, they're targeting me, help me, help me, help me. The entity relies on illusions, and through that illusion, they are silencing, oppressing an American citizen, and they do that through gang violence. Everybody just acts like it's not happening. Everybody acts like, and what you see, oh, they're acting like engineer light is normal. They're acting like the fake sun is absolutely normal. They're acting like the helicopter activity at every blog, every day, and every night is normal. They're acting like the fake moon over the same person that's capturing a fake sun all day long is normal. They're acting like it's after all that abnormality as a pattern of conduct, and then they're in the bathroom stall like they're normal, like they have a right to be there. That's the government. They don't. They act like that's normal. They just act like, and they have to, because now they've been relegated to hold that role. That's what you want to act like. So keep that same energy. Keep acting like nothing's happening, because if you say something, I'm sorry, what are you talking about? What are you talking about, Satan? You're in custody of your phone as well. I don't hear the helicopter activity either. I'm just holding my phone and used to it just like you are. Nobody sees the light activity. Nothing to see here, folks, right? So what are you so paranoid about? What are you so bothered for? Huh? What's with all the mania? What's that about? The entities engage in behavior that shows you everything around me is controlled by me. What I'm doing, what I'm saying, what I'm doing on my device. In other words, what I am saying, because I'm saying very much on my device as I document and as I publish. I control this environment. I control all of them because they're all demons. When you hear the sirens, when you hear the plane activity, all right? And then you're looking at them and they're all acting like, and they have to. Because they're the ones that started this stupid, it's idiotic, and you're trapped. You're trapped right there. Because if you act like anything else, you're admitting that you're monitoring. Because if you're not monitoring on my phone, then how do you know what I'm doing on my phone when I'm ostensibly engaging in the same conduct that you are? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Right? And then you've got the demons of the Upland Police Department. Chang chases me down into the depths of a grocery store, knew exactly where I was at, and did so just to have a conversation about that which is not unlawful, while you have, moreover, a gun on your waist, and nothing under the doctrine of reasonable suspicion or probable cause whatsoever, nor are you going to accumulate it while you are engaging in what is an unlawful detention upon gang stalking. That is nothing other than a threat by the people of the state. That's a threat by the demons that are gang stalking. That's a threat by them. When the police are chasing you down, and remember, they're not police, but because we use words, and so that we're understanding understanding what it is that we're communicating with each other. Because police officers, law enforcement, that has an actual meaning and it serves an actual purpose, and it is not this at all. But for purposes of understanding who's being prosecuted, who's being disbanded, when you are being chased down by the police and they're monitoring you, like the Upland Police Department are, they're demons asking you questions about that which they know, and they're really just hostile, and they're also monitoring to see if you're scared of them, seeing what you react with, seeing if you don't fumble your words, see if you know what to say, what to do. This is what they do to the ordinary target individual, and that's the standpoint from which I'm prosecuting. Student Transportation of America, 7ZYN814, they're stalking with the people of the state in Upland at 6th Street in San Antonio while they're maintaining light activity. Those are gang stalkers in school buses, which is, again, they're not going to be on the roads and the highways. I've shown you every mean of all the means of gang stalking. Public transportation, the demons driving the school buses, they're not even interested in getting an education. It's not even about an education. The demons that are driving a part of these law enforcement agencies, they're stalking on the roads and the highways. They're all being permanently parked. They're losing that privilege. They're monitoring with the vehicles. They're stalking on the roads and the highways in furtherance of murdering someone. And they also engage in what are attempted murder while you're engaging in what is assault with a deadly weapon, stalking while you're operating those deadly weapons such as vehicles under the fake sun with the impossible light activity while the entity is stalking in planes and helicopters. That's not a car accident, it's the P.O.C. All right, and everybody that shows up is acting in furtherance of that ongoing act of terrorism against an American citizen. The gang stalking EMTs, the gang stalking California Highway Patrol, or the gang stalking police. The people of the state that are witnesses, all of them are demons. They're all monitoring. The entity is engaged in what is murder. They're engaged in what is attempted murder. They're engaged in what is assault and battery with deadly weapons using these vehicles on the roads and the highways. They attack each other. They attack the target individual, and they do so on behalf of the state that is watching the whole time, monitoring the whole time. These are the psychopaths that are not engaged in policing. They're not engaged in, well, it is a form of policing, but it's not law enforcement. They're policing your genitalia. They're policing your home without any warrant or probable cause. All right, you're policing my device. Well, first of all, you're assuming that I'm doing anything on my phone, which, why are you assuming what I'm doing on my phone? Why are you all in the side of my neck? Why are you in my business that tough? Why? If you're focused on driving, if you're focused on the conversation when you're on your phone, if you're focused on the person that you're talking to in the vehicle, why are you so concerned? And even so, even if it were, it's, second of all, not a crime. And I want to be clear, even if it was, do you understand? As a matter of principle, they don't even have authority under the law. Well, let's just go with the illusion. It's not a crime. And what are you concerned about if you're not doing anything wrong? Who cares? The gang stalkers care. The gang stalkers care because they're concerned about how they look. And you know how they look. They look like creatures, gargoyles, vagina monitors. They look exactly as what I've told you that they are. Demons, psychopaths, sex offenders. That's exactly what they look like. And that's why I let you hear what they say. That's why, and I also do it because I'm prosecuting, but that's why I want you to hear everything they say. I want you to hear how the mentally ill, that is Satan. Satan is the spirit of mental illness. That's him. All right, and how do you have so many good actors? They're not good actors. They're not good actors. You have a whole bunch of people that are liars, and it would seem like, man, they're good actors. No, they're not good actors. The reason why you have the entity that is so confident, in other words, in their lies, the lies literally about who they are, what they are, the point of what they are. They don't have a point, and all they are stalkers. And they're in the United States stalking and monitoring, period. All right? The entities engaging in maintaining a whole lie regarding everything. The fake sun is over your house. The fake sun is over the target individual that walks by or drives by your house. You are maintaining what is a system that is serving and is supported, but you're a part of the gang, in other words. And this is why they have so much confidence, because you're gang stalking while you are the manager at the optometrist's office. You're gang stalking, so you are confident with regard to the fact that you don't physically know that, you don't know that person, you don't have any history with them. So they are confident in making it seem as though it is absurd, as though gang stalking is relying upon your having a personal relationship with them. When you are listening to what they say, and I've taught you, what are you looking at? Look at the light activity. Take a good look at that light. Listen to what they're saying and look at the light activity. Listen to what they're saying and look at that fake sun. Listen to what they're saying and look at that helicopter activity, because they're getting committed behind this. These are psychopathic disorders. It's confidence. It's not talent. Okay? But everything that they've put their confidence in, it's serving for what is proving how delusional, how corrupt, and how dangerous they are as a community, as an entity. These are not Oscar-worthy performances at all. It holds no water whatsoever, and this is why they're unhinged. And they're also particularly triggered by me. Okay, so you're talking about what is a skill set. Satan is very envious. This is why you try to copy off of me. You can't copy off of me. You cannot copy off of me. You can't copy me. You can't be me. You can't compete with me. This is absurd. There's no such thing with regard to being who you were born to be. And there is absolutely no such thing with regard to doing what God has called you to do. I just want to be clear. It is impossible for a witch, for a Jezebel, for a whore, for a promiscuous demon to engage in stealing from a child of God that which the Lord God has prophesied that X, Y, and Z is going to, that didn't happen. These demons are liars. They wish. You know what they've been doing? They've been taking out demons like them, and they thought that they were actually accomplishing. They thought they were snatching something from children of God. They thought that they were taking something from people who are chosen. No, they're not chosen. And you cannot do that with regard to those that are actually called, who are walking in obedience to Christ Jesus. That's not the truth. That's not true. It's impossible. And this isn't based on what Christ has done on the cross. It's not any person. It's based on what Christ has already accomplished on the cross. Satan, which is why they have a fake son, by the way, the fact that they're monitoring is their concession that they don't know everything, that they don't have any power. And they have to monitor and stalk everyone everywhere at all times in order to try to attain as much information as they can. Okay, because Satan is engaging in what is an obsessive and delusional endeavor. Christ is coming back, and he's coming back, and he's going to accomplish everything that has been prophesied before he does so. Nothing is slowing that or stopping that. God remains in control. All right, that's the reality. That's why you're gang stalking, by the way. That's why you have an army, an incompetent, a fully exposed army of unhinged and triggered gargoyles that are stalkers. And under the law, not only have you been called out in the spirit, you've been documented in the physical. All right? This is Exhibit A. This is P.O.C. Alrighty, I'm on my podcast right now, and this is where the Los Angeles County Sheriff for Stalking. Diversified Landscape Company is monitoring. All right, you're going to prosecute the company, and you're going to prosecute studying the devices, monitoring under the fake sun. This is federal prison. All right, and this is also relevant to what is criminal. It's light activity under the fake sun, monitoring with thousands of people together. This is the entity, and this is Upland, California. They're all stalking in the path, and these are the demons that are engaging in what is gang stalking with the entity. That's the U.S. military, stalking in the same manner at the Ovid Family Community Library, stalking in the same manner when I'm walking on Euclid Avenue back to Ontario, doing so under the fake sun that I'm present here in the afternoon. This is the same street where Chino police are gang stalking. I documented that, and Los Angeles County Sheriff this morning documented that. California Highway Patrol documented that. Okay, this is the same bridge. This is federal prison, license 40911 Thomas 3. They're engaged in federal stalking. They're engaged in criminal facilitation with the people, 9JJN701. This is psychopathic pacing, and doing so stalking by helicopter, and they're going to federal prison. I'm going to prosecute another gang stalking company, 33217 Thomas 2. This is the P.O.C. Alrighty, I want you to see that. I am currently on podcast. Diversified Landscaping, they're terrorists. They're terrorists. They're 9HNN844. They're terrorists. And this is the entity that's keeping the fake sun. While I go to Upland, this fake sun is moving with me, and they're going to prison behind that. They're demons. And those that are gang stalking, Diversified is going to be criminally and civilly charged. This is federal stalking under Title 18. They're engaged in criminal conduct and furtherance of murder. They're wearing the labels. I'm going to prosecute that company, and I'm prosecuting them. They're going to prison. This is P.O.C. This is psychological torture that companies are going to be held liable for. And it's criminal while they're even in the path, crossing paths, stalking with the government, crossing paths, stalking with the government, crossing paths, stalking with the government. And the entity's doing that by thousands of people who are sharing in surveillance. They are going to prison. This is P.O.C. And that's a prosecution of the corporate entity, Diversified Landscape Company. P.O.C., it is currently, by the way, 9:34 a.m. Do you recall my evidence when I am in Pomona, California? Because that's where I'm at. He's stalking in the path. That's why he's getting out the car. Still monitoring. It's okay because they're going to prison. The entity is committed to the end. That's the city of Upland, stalking in the sky space. Okay? They're going to prison. This is what you get by being committed to the cause. Prison time. That's it. You're getting prison time. That's what you're getting. They're going to federal prison, okay? I want to be clear. If they're not natural-born citizens, they're going to produce their identity. You're not hiding. You're not going nowhere. They're going to federal prison, all these bodies, and I'm going to prosecute. And you can think it's funny. I hope your mommy and your abuelito, I hope they have their papers because you're getting deported. All right, that's a demon that's laughing while they're being prosecuted. This is the P.O.C. I'm in Pomona, California at 9:33 a.m., reminding you about in that video where UPS is stalking me by commercial planes in Pomona, California, which is not in Upland, which is not funny at all. The entity is engaged in what is in Pomona, what I'm referring to in that video, the Ontario police stalking by helicopter under the fake sun in Ontario, California at Stater Brothers where I just left. Okay, that's the P.O.C. They're going to prison. This is 1559. This is 1559. I'm on San Antonio Avenue. And I'm on this street in the afternoon. And this is where Los Angeles County Sheriff, this is the evidence you're going to refer to because I'm prosecuting that department that's gang stalking me on this street this morning. I recited their license plate on that podcast. This is the P.O.C. It is currently 9:35 a.m. Alrighty, I did have to go into video right now. License 40911T3. That is Diversified Landscape Company. Let me get some still images. I just got video. The entity stalked by helicopter, and they're all going to prison. And this is also relevant to immigration law. So you're being deported when you're gang stalking and you are not a natural-born citizen. The entity is engaging in what is combining the operation of a company with federal stalking and furtherance of murder. This is the surveillance system by the government that literally just flew over my head in a black and gray helicopter, putting all their devoted third-party actors in prison. Okay, the government's already handled. They're going to be producing their own identities. And you're going to witness and they're going to learn if you think you're not, they're very much going to produce their identities. They're going to prison. The people of the state are going to prison. That's the point of this. They're going to prison for their gang stalking conduct with the government. All right, so let me get some still images right now. It's 9:36 a.m. and as I pointed out in the video, I am in Pomona, California at approximately 9. I am in Pomona, California at approximately 9:33 a.m. where UPS is gang stalking me, flying over the top of my head. UPS that was hovering over the parking lot in Stater Brothers today. The entity is engaging in what is stalking in San Bernardino. Also, at the same time, while the entity is maintaining the fake sun over me, I'm also in Fontana, California, where Amazon Prime is gang stalking me by commercial plane. These are, again, as of late, the ongoing many means of documenting the scientific and supernatural, in other words, pattern of conduct, while companies are engaging in that P.O.C, which is relevant to the federal RICO case, and gang stalking immigrants, gang stalking corporate entities that are being exposed by the government that's engaged in the P.O.C. And this is how the entity is acting in a counterintuitive manner with regard to evidence that's exposing the truth of that surveillance system. All right, so that's what I was speaking to in the video, and that video is going to be published as soon as possible. I am currently on April 27th as the entity engaged in what is gang stalking by the unlawful expulsion from Ovid Family Community Library, which is in furtherance of my murder. They're doing it to obstruct justice. They're doing it upon gang stalking as well, which is an ongoing threat to my life, even while they engage in that. C. Gerber with a gun on his waist under the fake sun, stalked with Southwest Airlines, the whole P.O.C, and the entity is engaging in that because they are sex offenders failing at projecting their sexual violence onto me, the one that's, I'm both, again, this is the entity, I'm stealing from the drug addicts and the prostitutes, these homeless demons that are gang stalking me. I'm stealing from them. According to them, I'm stealing from them. I'm a thief now, and I'm stealing from the poor that don't have, but nonetheless, I'm stealing from them, and I'm also taking their picture. That's a very weird type of criminal, but I'm stealing from them, and I'm also documenting them. I'm maintaining this investigation. I don't know at what point when I'm documenting I have time to maintain that duplicitous character. This is the entity that's engaging what is defaming my character and claiming that I'm a drug addict, I'm a prostitute, I'm a sex offender, I'm a child molester. I am a fraud. I've engaged in fraud. Everything that the entity has committed against me is what they accuse me of. And these are the homeless that are out here, again, the ongoing desperation of demons. I mean, you don't have 2 pennies to rub together. And even if I don't have 2 pennies in my hand, first of all, I am wealthy. Second of all, even if I don't have physical 2 pennies in my hand, you are the last person. I don't steal, and you are the last person who smells of feces and urine that I'm going to steal from. This is getting to the desperation of demons. Why are you hostile to me? Because you don't have a reason, so you got to make up that I'm stealing from you in order to talk about, I'm going to call the police. In order to talk about, approach me in a threatening manner. These are the demons that are gang stalking because they're pathetic and they're mad because they're being documented. That's literally what that is. And I'm just gonna break it down for you. Oh yeah, I'm stealing from you, you smell like pee. Your property smells like pee. You're missing teeth from all the drugs that you're doing. I'm stealing from you. You're sleeping outside and you're physically dirty and I'm stealing from you. What do you have? What do you have? This is an entity that is stalking me. I am everything to them, stalking me in helicopters, and I'm stealing from you. You worship my vagina, and I'm stealing from you? Yeah, you hear that? They're all going to prison. All right, this is the entity that's engaged in that pattern, and they're doing so at the heavily documented intersection. Pay attention to what I documented yesterday afternoon. The entity that's stalking Diversified Landscape Company are indeed good. They're going to prison. Okay, that's another group that's going to federal prison. This entity, I documented license plate after license plate after license plate. They're all being federally prosecuted. When I'm capturing license plates, I am indeed capturing stalkers. And this is no ordinary stalking. When you are stalking as a cult member, as a member of an entity, you're engaging in terrorism. It's gang violence. These are terrorists that I'm documenting by license plate on the roads and the highways. All of that is legally relevant. While you hear helicopter activity, I'm here in the morning. I'm going to capture this right now because there's already a gang of defendants that are on the record when you just heard that helicopter activity, which is evidence of the city of Upland, Marcelo Blanco, the gang members that are gang stalking as a corrupt police department, a corrupt fire department, gang stalking EMTs who are mentally ill. It tells on everybody at the same time while you are stalking. And the demons of Diversified Landscape Company are still going to prison. How about that? And I'm stealing from homeless people while they're worshiping me, spending thousands of dollars on stalking me. Who am I stealing from? You worship me. What's really going on here? This is the reality. This is the reality, and these are the pathetic and desperate acts. License 5XYG779. This is a lily white demon. She's a homosexual predator stalking another woman while she happens to be living her life as one that is at least heterosexual enough to give birth to demons. But she's stalking me. You need to understand that she's a demon, and she has that homosexual spirit on her while she's gang stalking me and molesting me and engaging in terrorism with the entity that's using helicopters. She's doing so at San Antonio Avenue and 7th Street, which I documented yesterday in the middle of the afternoon. Remember, I left the Upland Public Library at around 2 o'clock. The fake sun is over me while I'm walking down the street, and I'm going to capture this because all the rest of the defendants, it's an ongoing growing class of defendants that I am documenting myself. This is the whole state of California. There's no sun in Sacramento. There's no sun over the Pentagon right now. There's no sun over the White House. All right, there's no sun that is in Florida, 3 hours ahead of us. There's only one sun, and these demons are stalking me in helicopters and on the roads and the highways under it. And this is their own universe where they're being prosecuted and being put under martial law. And you're also seeing the pattern of conduct while the entity is doing so from Ontario to Upland. I'm subject to the same terrorism by helicopter. You know what Marcelo Blanco has in common with Derek Williams and Darren Goodman and Mike Lorenz? He's going to be federally prosecuted. In fact, this is his prosecution, and you're going to prison in the United States for engaging in what is gang violence, i.e. domestic terrorism, with the government, the U.S. military, these homosexual, suicidal demons stalking in helicopters like what you just heard at this intersection where I am present in the middle of the afternoon speaking to an entity that is stalking together. Okay? This is the entity that engages in murder together. They don't have car accidents. They set people up. All right? This is the P.O.C. I documented a demon stopping at the venue right here at the address, which I took a picture of in the afternoon to show you he is indeed engaged in criminal facilitation. And I documented it all, and I said he's going to prison. That's exactly where he's going. It's already on the record, so you can refer to that. I'm just briefly going over it so you know what I'm referring to, because he's going to prison, and everybody that I'm documenting is engaged in that POC. I'm capturing images right now. License plate. I want you to see license plate. 1124242, I believe that's Chafee Joint Union High School. That's gang stalking. License plate 9PZC641, and they're doing so under the fake sun that is over me at 9:43 a.m. And I'm at this same intersection after 2 o'clock in the afternoon yesterday. Okay, where you hear helicopter activity, and the demons that worship me are triggered, and so they engage in falsely depicting things that are absurd. Absurd as the fake sun that I'm stealing from you, and you're sleeping outside and you're missing teeth in your mouth because you're a drug addict. All right, and you're mad because I'm speaking to and critiquing and scrutinizing your parental skills because you're a vagina monitor who has the audacity to be you want to be viewed as a father, you are not, while you're engaging in terrorism and engaging in what is violence against a woman that calls you out for engaging in violence against her. And then you're going to accuse me of, because there's no other way in which you're going to have a conversation with me because I don't talk to you. Gang stalker. This is the entity that's going to prison. That's Eddie that I'm referring to. Eddie's going to federal prison. Okay? Eddie's going to federal prison while I'm referring to him in this evidence and the entity that's triggered by it, because they share one spirit. They're all demons. So while I'm talking about their demons, the demons that are stalking me in Ontario, talking about how homeless drug addicts missing teeth from their mouth are engaging in what is accusing me of what is entirely absurd, while you worship me. Let's get that right. You worship me. That's because you're mentally ill. That's because you're demons. And you're going to worship me as you transition out of this realm. You're going to be worshiping me until you drop, until you take that dirt nap. Because this is that ongoing progressive deterioration. Under the fake sun, the demon-possessed are going to transition out of existence. This entire entity is dying off, and this system is over with. You're watching them unravel before you as I document criminal activity and I recover for it. Okay, that's the entity that's gang stalking at 387 San Antonio Avenue and 375 San Antonio Avenue. This entity is gang stalking me in the morning. I documented that. And then in the afternoon And it's not just this venue, that's speaking to my location, that's speaking to relevant positioning, that's speaking to the entire city of Upland. Well, like I'm stating, I'm in an entirely different city. I'm in Fontana, I'm in Pomona. How is the fake sun over me where the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, that's gang stalking in Ontario today, is keeping the fake sun over me while I'm in Pomona, California? Okay, well, that's during daylight savings time as well. And the entity is keeping it while I'm walking north on San Antonio in Upland, California, where you hear the helicopter activity, where the defendants of Diversified Landscape Company are further confirmed as terrorists. While that fake sun travels over me, and that entity is stalking, following, pursuing, engaging in another iteration of stalking by helicopters. That's the entity that's doing that everywhere. They're stalking me by helicopter at the Upland Public Library. Again, another workforce that's going to prison. And this is what happens when you're engaging in what is criminal surveillance as a whole population, statewide. You know how many people are going to prison? There's a lot of people under the law that are going to federal prison. They will be building more facilities because of what is going on in the United States of America. And there are many people that are going to be confined in these tougher times that are coming. And I want to be clear, losing your liberty, having demons locked up in prison and in mental institutions, because that's what's going to happen. That's what this is leading to inevitably. Martial law, this is the entity that's going to be enduring severe hardship. And this is what they've reaped for themselves after murdering people for decades, targeting them for decades, assassinating them. You're talking about assassinating public figures, influential figures, in order to make sure that you remain conditioned and that you don't get some sort of wild thought in your mind to start thinking for yourself. They murder people like that. Okay? The entity is engaging what is gang stalking the wrong person because I'm calling down judgment and I actually have the authority to do that, and you're witnessing it. You will not silence and you will not contend with the Lord God himself. And while you do so in violation of scripture, which is law to you, you reap judgment. Okay? Life-threatening judgment at that. This is the P.O.C. That's the entity that's stalking me. And guess what's happening to everybody in Upland? All right, this is the state of California. As my evidence proves that it is, regardless of the location, regardless of the neighborhood, regardless of the demographics. It's the same P.O.C. And martial law is going to rain down in California. Okay, that's the pattern of conduct. I did take a picture of the fake sun. I'm at the same intersection at 7th and San Antonio Avenue. I keep wanting to say Euclid. I am west of Euclid Avenue. So the entity is engaging what is abandoning the fake sun over Euclid Avenue to be over me on San Antonio, where Diversified Landscape Company is just openly and conspicuously terrorizing, gang stalking, and then did so, punctuated that threat by stalking in concert with the homosexual suicidal psychopaths of the U.S. military, stalking in a helicopter, which gets everybody and their mother in trouble. Literally. Because that's how overly used and obvious the pattern. I pointed that out at the outset. It's a hallmark. You see the helicopter activity? This is gang stalking. It's gang stalking. So it's a matter of identifying the elements of monitoring, understanding how the demons are engaging in this P.O.C. Because it's there, it's right in front of your face. And it's also, I've shown you, it's not even a mystery. And the entity is very much triggered in real time with every word that I speak. And I'm going to continue to speak because that's literally my job. All right? And no gargoyle that's eating their feces can even contend with me. I'm laughing at you. And by the way, it's not just me laughing, they're laughing at you. Everybody is laughing at you. You smell like feces through their computer screens, through their communication device, through their cell phones. That's how psychotic you look. That's how imbalanced, that's how unstable you look. All right, this is the P.O.C. This is the prosecution of an entity that was overly concerned about me and mine, and they're serving the ultimate price for it. It is currently 9:49 a.m. It is Thursday, June 11, 2026. And this is documentation of the entity stalking, like I've been capturing for years, following me from place to place, which is the significance of the podcast. It's evidence of an entity that is stalking me. And they're stalking me because they're monitoring. So your understanding is how, because you think about that practically, how does a government stalk you? The government is like literally, the government isn't a building. The government isn't an individual. The government is an entity. All right? It's a noun, but it's literally an entity. So it's a construct. And how does that happen? And it is within the P.O.C, a population. All right? That population, that includes license FB 505, license 9WTR 378, license 9 Yolanda Wendy Sam 241, license 66788 Kelly 4, doing so at what is 222 North San Antonio Avenue, which is where the fake sun is over me right now. And all of these demons are sharing in the sex offense of what is the supernatural. They're mentally ill. While they're all engaging in that ongoing uncanny ability to touch you while they're on the opposite side of the street, where they're in the street in a vehicle and you're on the sidewalk and you're looking at light, touching all that, those are demons. All right, and it's not a talent, it's an indicator regarding mental illness and criminal activity. All right, and they're going to be subject to what is necessary in order for the American people to be protected from them, and for them to be isolated from the ability to harm them, and they can no longer secretly target you and violate you in unfathomable ways that are a violation of your constitutional and human rights. They can't do that anymore. Alrighty, I'm at 8th Street and Euclid. Excuse me, 8th Street in San Antonio. Like I said, I keep wanting to say Euclid because I typically take Euclid. Metrolink is monitoring. It's light activity under the fake sun. And I'm literally at this intersection yesterday afternoon. All right, Metrolink is engaged in the P.O.C. And they also are at the Union Station in LA where Michael Moore and where Dominic Choi and the latest predecessor is engaging in that ongoing terrorist system of surveillance. They're not engaged in policing at all. The pattern of conduct, and this, by the way, also, what is relevant about what I document, no matter where I'm at in the state of California, I'm exposing every single police department. I'm exposing every single community, every single city. I'm exposing every single airport. I'm exposing every single company, every household. The only one that is, and I'm going to be clear, the only one that is not engaged in this surveillance system is me. And there are people on the internet calling themselves giving messages, and I'm looking at they're in LA. You're in LA, you're gang stalking, and you call yourself giving messages. They're monitoring. I am the only one. I'm subject to the pattern of conduct, and if I were to walk outside of that tarot card reader's home, you know what would happen? The fake sun is over me, and they're monitoring as well. They're gang stalking. Okay? I am the only one that is in California that is subject to this. That's why I was placed in California. I'll put it that way. Okay? And even while I opted to move back to California after I transferred back to Orange County to finish my law school education, understand that that is even a means of placing me because it's where I'm quote unquote identify myself with, and that's because I was placed here as a child. California, I'm more comfortable. I moved to Florida and I wanted to finish the rest of my law school career in California where I'm comfortable, where I have my family. Even that, as you opt to, and that's what the entity relies on. Okay, that is even as an adult, and I opted to come back to California to finish my law school education. This is something that the Lord God called me to do that anyway, because if he wanted me to leave, but I just want to let you know, even where you are born, something that they want you to identify with and be attached to, even that is a means of you being in a position regarding where you are at, and everyone in that location is targeting. The entire state of California is targeting. Every public official, every celebrity that lives in California, they're all demons. They're gang stalking. I said exactly what I said. The pattern of conduct speaks for it. Not the person who you think has credibility. You think that they have credibility because of some earthly quality or something that is absolutely irrelevant. But I tell you what you won't deny. You won't deny the evidence that is literally in the environment. The evidence that nobody wants to talk about either, not even NASA. Because when you see that fake sun over the well, let's just say I don't want to name any demons. They all know who they are because they're all listening very intensely. And they're scared that I'm going to identify them. And I know who you are. And the Lord God is going to get you. I'm not concerned about you. The entity is engaging in this P.O.C. And I just want to be clear. When you're watching reality TV and you're watching the reality TV and you see the fake sun over their all blacked out Yukon. You see it over there, the venue where they're going to perform. You see it over their mansion up off of Mulholland Drive, or where they're letting you in and they're talking about the nonsense while they're engaging in what is influencing you and keeping you distracted. As demons that are not royalty, that are not stealing from children of God, you've been holding on to it. It's been acquiring interest and it's being handed back over to who it belongs to, and you don't have any authority to do anything about that, and your time is up. All right, about out here engaging in shenanigans, satanic shenanigans, trying to lead people to hell. The entity is engaging in that pattern of conduct, and you will see them. That is undeniable evidence to you who have no faith, who do not hear and just believe, who need to have proof and evidence, and and that's fine, because you know what, God is merciful, and he's even providing a level of proof to you while I prosecute in the physical that which is spiritual. But it's being given, it is not being given for naught, meaning if you do not respond, that is your decision. This is calling for decisions to be made. Satan is no longer, Satan's not hidden at all. Satan is right in your face. And you're not either, nor do you have the convenience to secretly serve Satan, to conveniently serve Satan, to delude yourself about the fact that you serve Satan. However you do that, however you compromise, however you conform. Whether it's what you consume, whether it's who you associate with, whether it's how you live your life. That's your business. I'm just here to give you the information. You do with it what you will. But I will say, the Bible says salvation. Today is the day of salvation. All right? And the Bible also says that, paraphrasing, present to you life and death. Please choose life. I urge you, choose life. This is the entity that has a whole comprehensive system that's designed to drag you to hell. That's how important you are. And this whole system is designed to make you think that you're unimportant, that you have to make yourself relevant by looking this way and living this way and being around these people and making this amount of money. That's all backwards. It's all backwards. That's Satan's system, though. And you know what they do in order to get in those positions to influence you? They do all manner of disgusting things. Things that are not in alignment with how they want their image to be viewed as a celebrity. That you put on a pedestal. That is worship. That's called idolatry. And you're idolizing demons. I'm going to digress. This is an entity that's engaging in this criminal system. And there is no exception. The entire state of California. While I'm merely prosecuting the state that I am in. But you know the evidence is speaking to the asininity of having a fake son. What, pray tell, is that over you in Texas and in New York and in Florida? Just name a state, any state. This is what's going on in the U.S. And it's demonic. And in California, I don't care where they're at. They're monitoring. They're monitoring, and they're monitoring to steal from people. These demons thought that they're gay sex rituals and that all their money paying these homosexuals to stalk me in planes and helicopters and have me locked up and defame my character in order to steal from me. And they also thought that they could steal my spiritual giftedness, my ability to articulate. And you're going to translate that into being on Broadway, and that's going to make you sing better, acquire some sort of presence that you don't ordinarily have on your own. None of that is happening. You've been watching too many Disney movies. None of it is happening. This is the entity that's engaging in what is absurd. You know why? Because they've been set up. They've been set up by the Lord God Almighty himself. And the trap which you laid for another, you need to be prepared because you've already been caught in it. And based on the way in which you violated a child of God and that which you're being judged for things you did to other people, I don't even know anything about. Your judgment has to happen before the world. Based on the way in which you like to violate people, the way in which you like to hail and celebrate, it's happening before everyone. The same ones that you thought were going to celebrate your triumphant victory in sacrificing other people. Okay, well, on your way to hell, you're going to be humiliated. All right, this is the P.O.C. All right, it is currently 9:59 a.m. The entity's keeping the fake sun over me. Remember, I'm in Ontario yesterday, and I was shouting from the rooftops, right? Remember where the entity is gang stalking me on Euclid Avenue, and I'm still walking. I'm walking north on Euclid Avenue. The entity is keeping the fake sun over me while I am documenting the P.O.C. the day before that. So that was 48 hours ago when I'm at this location approaching 8th Street and at 10:30 a.m. Yesterday, if you recall my evidence, excuse me, not yesterday, but the day before yesterday, if you recall my evidence at the same 8th Street and Euclid Avenue intersection, I'm documenting the entity that is gang stalking, the ones that are wearing police uniforms and in police vehicles. Gang stalking. Humiliating, demoralizing, pathetic conduct. You're supposed to be above that. You're supposed to be beyond that. It's supposed to be something that shouldn't even be spoken of. It's Satan. Satan does all type of things that he doesn't want you to know about. He does all type of things with his vessel that he doesn't want spoken about. And in fact, the moment that I speak of them, they start stalking by helicopters because that's how much they don't want it spoken of. But you need to know, and you need to know what they want you to be doing with your vessel. They want you to think that it's cool and it's sexy and that everybody's doing it. No. Sorry, that's a lie. That's Satan's lie. Who wants you hell-bound and HIV infected and spiritually controlled like him. He wants you with no hope like him. He wants you living a life of shame, hating your reflection every day like him, because having more and more ongoing sexual activity with a whole bunch of people, like all these celebrities and all these celebrities' kids that are promoting that lifestyle, they're demons, it's witchcraft, and they are cursed. They are cursed. Those are the ones that are monitoring. Those are the ones that are gang stalking. You're listening to dogs that are dressing up as human beings. These are creatures, these are demons that are here amongst us to try to influence you. That is not a conspiracy theory. The evidence of the P.O.C. is helping you understand what is happening. And Christ Jesus is very real. He is on the throne and he is coming back. He's coming back in judgment, and you need to get your house in order. All right, it is currently 10:01 a.m. This is P.O.C. I'm in Upland, California. Let me give you a quick rundown about what Upland police are doing. This is P.O.C., stalking in the path, psychopathic pacing, identified in the specific environment, okay? Fake sun, moving over me. Tech is in the background over here. This is a restaurant that's gang stalking. The fake sun's gonna move as I move in this parking lot, which is showing what is stalking with light activity. This is demonic and it's also criminal. They're engaging in what is criminal facilitation. They're doing so with Upland police, who are not a law enforcement agency. They're engaged in surveillance, and they're engaging in the very unwise and imprudent and highly documented pattern of psychological torture regarding their own federal prosecution. So this is the entity that's going to be prosecuted as well with the military tribunals, the U.S. military's co-defendants, the Upland Police, 10632 Kelly 4. Tech is being prosecuted. They're stalking in multiple cities, and they're stalking right now, monitoring with the Upland Police Department right now. So this is the fake sun that moves as I move. It's no longer over me at the sidewalk. And this is where Upland Police, ARCO is monitoring, this Mexican restaurant is monitoring. That's the 8th Street. I'm here after 4 p.m. The entity's engaged in criminal summoning. And Upland Police are gang stalking in a relevant position with Chevron. They're pacing in and out of the entrance. They're monitoring inside of the Chevron at 159 Euclid Avenue. This is the P.O.C. You've got a demon that's stalking in the path. That's why she's walking on the sidewalk. All right, in doing so, this gives you context of everything that they're all doing together. And they're doing it with Upland Police. MARCELO Blanco is the one that's being prosecuted, and the demons of the Upland Police Department are being federally prosecuted as well. While they're engaging in the pattern of conduct, while demons engage in more of that, which they're humiliated about being exposed in the first place. But nobody cares about their feelings, right? But this is what it is. It's because they're psychotic and they have some sort of ego attached to accomplishing targeting people. So they're engaging in the pattern of conduct now when they are embarrassed. And as you also know, which is also a matter of logic, to engage in more of the criminal pattern of conduct is not to suggest that you're not engaging in it. In fact, you engage in it while it's being documented in the same way in which it is alleged. Okay? You are equally engaging in the criminal POC. Because you engage in it on camera, that just makes you more and more delusional with regard to what's going to happen to you, which is prison. He's pacing while the demon is stalking in alignment to the sidewalk. Upland Police walks to and from. He's a demon. He's pacing. The fake sun is moving. He's going to prison. This is another iteration of criminal summoning. Doing so while his partner, Landivar, he's going to prison. Landivar is under the fake sun at 8 in the morning when I am already at the Upland Public Library. My evidence shows the fake sun is the one that is not already over the Upland Public Library. He's going to prison. He's stalking. Stalking while you're bearing a weapon. Gang stalking with the people of the state. License 1675593. And this is pacing. This is actually a demon. So he's going back and forth to the car. He's pacing. And this demon is in alignment to my path. And this is how you know that. The fake sun. Okay? License. They're stalking with the police. 9TZZ915. This is the pattern of conduct. I want you to watch the fake sun remain over me while I walk. This is the pattern of conduct. This is the entity of vehicle 224. This is the entity that's engaged in that. Chevron is monitoring. And the entity is engaged in that. I want you to see, because they're going to prison and they're going to be subject to mental examinations as well. This is the psychopathic behavior. The entity that's stalking me by helicopter You need to understand it's the same entity right now. He's got a gun. These are federal offenses. This is speaking to the reason why they're going to prison. He is stalking, and he is stalking while exhibiting mental illness, keeping his back to the person that he's stalking, as though that's suggesting they're all in their sick minds, their ongoing system, while the demons are pacing around you, monitoring you together. That's what this is. While the entity is maintaining the people that say this is the outward disguise regarding what is the pattern of conduct. This is where it's happening under the fake sun. Okay? At 10 o'clock in the morning, I am not in Upland, California yesterday. I still remain in Ontario. Not only that, the entity is keeping the fake sun while I'm at the Fontana Lewis Library. I'm at the Chino Branch Library regarding the ongoing evidence that's on the record. I'm living in Los Angeles, where LAPD and the Los Angeles County Sheriff are presenting evidence against the criminal activity of the Upland Police Department. The entity is stalking me on this same street in the afternoon by helicopter, and this is a demon that's doing so while he is focusing his attention only physically, because it's a demon that's focused on me. And Landivar and his gang stalking partners, like this one and like the ones that are at 10:30 from 10:30, the fake sun is remaining on a different day. I'm taking the same route, San Antonio, and it's different behavior regarding the fake sun, because it is indeed the environment where you're looking at stalking by those engaging in surveillance. And while you're doing so, you're going to prison. Okay, this is the P.O.C. License 1675593, and this is the entity, the department that committed kidnapping. All right, so Upland Police, Brianna, Carissa, you have Joy, Alan, Adam Tuckerman, Laura, Elizabeth, all those demons that work inside of the Upland Public Library are gang stalking with these psychopaths who engage in pacing around the venue all day long under this fake sun that's still over me on the street, just like I documented, by the way, yesterday afternoon, after 2 p.m. This is the P.O.C. This is the outward demonstration of mental illness that's no longer closeted. The sociopaths that joined the, yeah, he's going to prison. The sociopaths that joined the academy in order to engage in the criminal activity. All right, this is the entity that has conceded what is the P.O.C. and engage in it while they're pacing. And this is the prosecution of Chevron. I've been prosecuting Chevron in Ontario. I've been prosecuting Chevron for years. They're engaging in surveillance with the government. And this is the entity that's engaging in that P.O.C. with the city of Upland. This is P.O.C. The entity that is stalking with the military. Like I stated, you have Darren Goodman and you have Marcelo Blanco that are sharing in the pattern of conduct and engaging in that while they are under the fake sun, engaging in the same tactic where, again, 2 hours earlier, Landivar is engaging in the same. I'm focused on the people of the state, some homeless person that needs help, while the fake sun is over me 2 hours earlier on the same street where they're stalking by helicopter. He's going to prison, and this is an entity that literally concedes that. Okay? And while you watch the fake sun remain over me as I leave, that's the evidence also as I go about, and the entity is stalking into the fake sun. Everything that's happening while that fake sun remains over you is criminal, and while they do so in these vehicles and in those uniforms with those weapons, they're going to prison. This is P.O.C. This is mental illness and public corruption. This is federal stalking under Title 18, Section 2261A, subsections 1 and 2. It's also psychological torture. It is the identical pattern of conduct of the kidnappers of the Ontario Police Department, and it is criminal monitoring by demons who are vagina monitors, who want any excuse to be in your path, and that's what you're doing. This is not the execution of the duties of officers. This is P.O.C., and the entity is aiding in that while they're stalking by helicopter. This is the pattern of conduct, all right? They're all monitoring together, and this is relevant to what is martial law. They're not staying on the roads and the highways. They're losing that ability to engage in that, and the gang stalking police departments are sharing in that. This is the pattern of conduct. She's stopping in the middle of the parking lot of the gas station because I'm changing my direction. 9EKH518 is still stalking with the Upland Police. So are they in operation of all their devices. 88139 Wendy 3. 92647 Kelly 4. That's impossible light activity while you're driving in the shade. And the fake sun is no longer over the demon over there in the police uniform. It's right here over me, the one who he is gang stalking. He's going to prison, and he's going to be subject to mental examinations, and he's going to prison for gang stalking with all the people of the state. 45675 George 3, 8WEX 871, 9LOH 048, 9SIB 115, 67224Y2, and 9RGA565. I just want to be clear, the entity in Burtech I documented already. The entity that's engaged in this conduct, this is Chevron at 159 Euclid Avenue, and doing so in Upland, California. This is the pattern of conduct shared by the corporate actor Chevron. There's a greater pattern of conduct, and Chevron is being prosecuted as a terrorist, engaging in treason, because what Chevron is engaging in, it is engaging in not only with the U.S. military, but those that are abroad that are targeting American citizens in the U.S., and the Upland Police are being disbanded for it. All right, this is the P.O.C. This is what the entity does, by the way, when they are harassing you as you document a venue. They invite federal prison. Because this is supposed to be, oh, well, you won't come back anymore if we stalk you. No, you're going to prison for that. And that's what the entity does. These are the tactics that they engage in, but you're going to prison for that. This is the entity that's not too bright. They're not too bright at all, and he's going to prison for that, engaging in what is harassment with a homeless person while they're engaging in that pattern of conduct, and it's about obsessively stalking me. All right? You're looking at the fake sun, and you've watched it vacillate from being over him. This is the demon stalking in the path. Doing so as a police department, as a pattern of conduct, is a threat to the public. All right? And they're all engaging in that together. Seeing that, studying their devices, filling up their gas, that's the federal RICO. All right? And they're engaging in this, which is relevant to the martial law that the terrorists who are the people of the state are going to be subject to. This is P.O.C. Alrighty? And they all engage in this together while the entity is monitoring a whole bunch of hostile demons in Upland. And guess what Upland's getting? Martial law. Guess what Upland's getting? You don't have a fire department. You don't have a police department. They're a bunch of stalkers, as I show you the identical pattern of conduct, where all he's doing is what is pathetic. He's pacing. You place the demon right here on the sidewalk. You walk to your car. You walk back and forth. You walk to your car. You walk back and forth. They're pacing under the fake sun. They're all pacing over me, around me. And this is what he does. This is what the department does pertaining to my vagina. While I'm showing you the fake son that sits over the Upland Public Library, he's going to prison under all circumstances, and Upland police are being disbanded. This is POC 1675593, vehicle 224. POC. It is currently 10:14 a.m. His partners are placed at the ecological address of 8th Street in Euclid, and that's not until about another 20 minutes from now, where the entity is going to keep the fake son as I'm traveling away from there. And also yesterday, I am remaining in Ontario, California, which is speaking to, again, targeting, which is relevant to what is terrorism, while gang members make up corrupt police departments who are engaged in domestic terrorism. You're going to prison for that. That's the POC. Alrighty, I did just document Upland Police and the people of the state gang stalking together. The people of the state include Chevron at 159 Euclid Avenue. Documenting all the license plates of the people of the state. It includes G&M, which is a commercial actor. It's using a commercial vehicle. In other words, gang stalking. Bertec is light activity, captured on video. The people of the state are literally engaging in surveillance at the gas stalls under the fake sun while they are doing so in anticipation of Upland Police being the focal point of my documentation, and they all sit around just monitoring to it. These are the demons that are suicidal. These are the demons that share while that same black helicopter flies over in relevant position while the fake sun is over me. This is the entity that's doing so. Chevron is engaging with harassment. So just like at a gang stalking church where you're targeting me because you want me to stop going there, and so you think that going to federal prison and stalking me as a matter of evidence and helicopter is going to accomplish that, when really what you're doing is proving that the entire state is monitoring and you're going to prison behind that. But that's what the entity does, and that's what they just did at Chevron. Want to document that, and the entity's doing so while the fake sun, is, as I documented, is remaining over the venue as I'm crossing path in the middle of the afternoon, leaving after 2 o'clock, the Upland Public Library yesterday. All right, but this is the POC. Yes. Where? Which machine? By the ATM? Okay. The entity is engaging in that pattern of conduct monitoring with the Upland Police, and they're engaging in that POC while they are engaging in what is harassment. So I'm going to document that. Everybody in the store is subject to prison as well. Excuse me. Alrighty, the entity is engaging in what is, oh, can you please put your bag on the side while they're monitoring? It's a means of the entity that's engaging in targeting. I'm being molested with impossible light activity on the inside of the gas station. The fake sun is over the gas station, and this is a pattern of conduct by Chevron. Okay, that's monitoring with the Upland Police that are outside. The employees are subject to prison. So I just want to document that. It is currently 10:17 a.m. Alrighty, and the ones that are inside of the store are the license plate that are already documented outside. And as I walk in and out, it's relevant to what is psychopathic pacing. Alrighty, this is POC. Alrighty, so I just want to be clear, this is the entity that is targeting. They engage in, oh, can you put your property to the side as a means of harassing audible activity, literally, just to say something, while the impossible light is all over while you're being targeted. And in other words, I'm speaking to, they're not concerned about anything other than monitoring. Alright, it's literally the pathetic games that the gang stalking businesses, which is again an unlawful and unconstitutional and federal RICO violation that they're going to very, very much regret. But nonetheless, they're not even concerned about your property. And if you steal something, they're monitoring. This is the entity that's gang stalking. But I'm going to document that. That's what you hear while they're in engineer light with Upland Police gang stalking. This is 159, I believe. 159 Euclid Avenue.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. 27, you said?
What's your day going?
Good. Better. Yeah.
It's hot there.
I know. I got my lunch, it's hot.
This is mental illness. This is psychopathic behavior while they're gang stalking and furtherance of murdering another person. And in the engineer light under the fake sun. All right, those are the demon possessed. And that's what you need to be aware of. It's operating under Chevron, and I'm going to prosecute Chevron.
Have a good day. Enjoy your day. Okay. Hello.
Hello.
One second, okay? Thank you.
Understand this is harassment by the entity. While the entity's gang stalking, this is harassment by Chevron. So that's why I'm in here documenting it, because I'm going to prosecute them.
Can you receive?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too.
Thank you.
Alrighty, it is currently, by the way, 10:20, where Metrolink is monitoring 6NXL162, gang stalking at gas stall number, looks like 10. Under the fake sun that's remaining over Chevron. While I am in Ontario yesterday, remember. While it's over me. Chevron is being federally prosecuted during the course of a purchase, and everybody else that's purchasing is gang stalking as well. Chevron is engaging in what is the federal RICO case, and this is beyond a federal RICO. The criminal activity is a matter of treason while they're monitoring with the customers under the fake sun, and they're doing so while they are targeting with a gang stalking police department, which is an unlawful threat to my life, my well-being, and my safety. And they do so in concert with an entire population. And they're making money while they do that. And the employees that you see, they're subject to prison just like everybody else that I just documented at this gas station, including the demon bearing the gun on his hip. Safe Flight Auto Glass is gang stalking, license 40612 David 3. They're pacing with light activity, and remember, Safe Flight is a commercial actor, okay? So you're going to prosecute the company, you're going to prosecute the third party operating that commercial vehicle. This is the entity that is gang stalking, and it is currently 10:21 a.m. That's monitoring on my device as I swipe down to look at my clock. That's Safe Flight Auto Glass. That's a demon that's an operation of a vehicle with regard to stalking with audible activity. All right, and they're doing it under the fake sun, and that's how you know what I'm saying is absolutely precise. That's exactly what demons are doing. That's exactly what this demon is doing, and it's a corrupt company that's engaging in what is a violation of public policy while businesses, corporate entities are monitoring American citizens and furtherance of murdering them. P.O.C. It's 10:22 a.m. All right, it is currently 10:33 a.m. and at around this time, 48 hours ago, I am walking east on 8th Street in Upland, California, which is an entirely, and that's proven as a matter of video evidence. And based on the sun, the behavior of the sun, the ongoing movement of the sun, and the exclusivity of the sun, that is directly juxtaposed with the crime scene where the Upland police are proven as stalkers, they're terrorists, and they're engaging in a pattern of conduct, not just as terrorists who are violent sex offenders, kidnappers, and murderers is what they are under the law. They are engaging in that with the intent to obstruct justice because they continue to do so while they are witnessing their exposure, which is a whole other level of a threat. The entity is engaging in what is at 10:33 a.m. Well, I'm in a distinct location, so I am in Upland. And I'm at the intersection of, really that will be Euclid Avenue and where Argo Optometry is. So this is captured in the images. So 7-Eleven is at 9th Street, 204 North Euclid Avenue, 9th Street in Euclid. And then where the Methodist Church is located, going north of Euclid Avenue, the next corner is the Methodist Church, and the entity removed the sign there. I want to say it's C Street and Euclid Avenue. And this is, nonetheless, this is where I'm located. I took a picture of it. This is speaking to what is distinct and not coexisting. It's not that would require more than one sun. For the sun to be in a natural environment where Upland police are not stalkers. They're not engaging in what is criminal summoning with regard to stalking while maintaining the illusion that you are engaged in the execution of the duties of an officer, one that has a right to be there, one that is under the law authorized and engaging in that which they are authorized to do under the Constitution. They are not doing that while the pattern of conduct is underway, and this is proven through the maintenance of the specific environment, which is supernatural, which is also speaking to their mental illness. They are demons maintaining that intentional and malicious illusion. The fake sun is over me at around 10:33 a.m. at what is C Street and Euclid Avenue. And this is the people that say that I'm documenting at Argo Optometry. The same location where I am after 5, 6 o'clock in the evening, and the same people that say that are gang stalking now, the same entity, is engaging in what is terrorism while Impossible Light is coding the outside of that same building where the fake sun is present. And it is what, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8 hours later. This is also relevant to prosecuting the gang stalkers of the Upland Police Department, who just engaged in what is providing more evidence against that department, against Marcelo Blanco, Darren Goodman, and the gang stalkers that are targeting on the street. Landivar at the Upland Public Library during the 8 a.m. hour. The gang stalkers of the Upland Police at around 10:30 at 8th Street and Euclid Avenue. And this morning at around 10 a.m., 10:15 a.m. at the Chevron at 159 Euclid Avenue. The entity keeps the fake sun into the evening, where even their partners are gang stalking me at 6:58 p.m. as I walk out of the doors of the Upland Public Library. This is captured on the same day that I documented Landivar, the Upland Police. Gang stalking by the people of the state who they focus their attention on. I'm stalking and I'm doing something, and so that means that I'm authorized because I'm relying on this uniform, and I can stand around and talk to whoever I want because I'm wearing this uniform, and they're going to prison behind that. All right, so the entities engaged in gang stalking and psychological torture while they are communicating an unlawful threat, doing so while they seek to criminally defame one that is under the knowledge that they are being targeted in ways in which they cannot define or prove or even articulate, perhaps. And that's because they're being stalked by demons. Demons that make up the Upland Police Department. So the entity is doing this while I'm being molested with Impossible Light. This is the common sense aspect. What do you think the Upland Police Department are doing? The entity is doing this while I'm being stalked and followed around the city of Upland in helicopters. What do you think the Upland Police Department are doing? All right, this is the entity where I am documenting the same fake sun, a supernatural phenomenon that is psychologically harmful to any American citizen who is subject to targeting by a population that's repeatedly kidnapping, defaming their character, stealing from them, et cetera, et cetera. What do you think the Upland Police Department is doing? And they rely on you. They are counting on you to deny all of that. You just ignore all of it, every single last ounce of it. They are police officers under the Constitution, engaging in the execution of the duties of officers authorized under the state and federal constitutions to do what they're doing. And what they're doing is stalking in the path, relevant positioning, light activity, audible activity. Moreover, not only are Upland Police prosecuting each other for me, and the entity is gang stalking the people of the state for me, the demon of Upland Police, this demon at Chevron, he is gang stalking, and as I document him, I start with the video with Bertek. Okay, the demons, I think that they're slick, stalking with light activity, subtle light activity, and I document, watch the fake sun move as I go approach that vehicle. This lets you know that that's a demon in a police vehicle stalking. The vehicle is identified, I document, I refer to it while I'm capturing light activity around the vicinity, and this is all light activity on the roads and the highways. These are all demons pacing, and it's light activity and relevant positioning. They're all monitoring and stalking as a society. Not only that, the moment that I begin video of the Upland Police, this is the demon who is monitoring evidence, and the people of the state acting with Upland Police in that particular iteration of the criminal system. This homeless third party arrived out of nowhere. So that's what I want to let you know. Upland Police were sitting at that side of the road, and there was no person sitting on the curb. And by the way, perfect alignment with my location on the sidewalk. This demon, very much a demon, and you're literally engaging in what is demonic activity, arrives out of nowhere the moment that I focus my camera after capturing light activity by Bird Tech, which is building my ongoing prosecution in that video. He's going to prison. I prosecuted him in that video. And this is the entity that's engaging in that. And he's stalking in the path. He's engaging in surveillance on the sidewalk outside of the Chevron while I'm approaching. And this is an entity that is aware. They're all surveilling, and he is aware of what it is that I'm documenting. And that's the significance of what I'm pointing out to you. The third party that he is keeping his focus on, which is a demon that wants to stalk you, but one that needs to appear as though I'm focused on something else. And that's the only thing that they cling to with regard to, I'm not stalking you because I'm over here talking to this person. That's not a defense. They're going to prison. But the entity is engaging in the P.O.C. and they are arriving. They are engaging in that conduct together. The people of the state, and these are the people of the state have no legitimacy. They have no credibility. And this is what the gang stalking police officers rely on. But what I want to point out is that the demon was not sitting there. There was no one there. Upland police were sitting in that vehicle, engaging in conspicuous surveillance. And as I begin my prosecution in that video, immediately this third party, after I left my property on the sidewalk to go get the license plate of Bird Tech. As I walked back to return to my property on the sidewalk, proceeding on Euclid Avenue, that's where that third party is then seated. And this is where Upland police are then pacing back and forth, monitoring while they know that I'm documenting and prosecuting them. So I want to document that. That's also pathetic. All right, this is the entity that's engaging in that. And in that video, the entity is stalking by helicopter. The entity is following with the fake sun that is now over Upland City Hall, where you hear the demons admitting that Bill Belto is a domestic terrorist and he will be removed from office. This is P.O.C. So these are the tactics of what are conceding guilt, admitting guilt. When the entity is embarrassed, they are embarrassed because they're serial killers that are incompetent, fake police officers, and because of your inability to control yourself, because that's nothing that you want to prove to be correct, they engage in that sort of criminal activity. But nonetheless, these are the demons that are targeting. I'm at the Upland City Hall, so I'll go ahead and take a picture of that while the entity is gang stalking me. I am inside of the Upland City Hall. That's a criminal facilitating venue, engaging in the pattern of conduct, engaging in vagina monitoring, criminal summoning, targeting with the Upland Police Department. And let me see. It is currently 10:41 a.m. Alrighty, this is speaking to the advantage that you have when you're dealing with psychopaths who are criminals that have been abusing their positions and while they seek to maintain what is, again, closeted mental illness. And so the entity makes concessions. Bill Belto is gang stalking while I'm being targeted at the Upland City Hall by the military that's flying over the top of my head. It is directly relevant to the gang stalker that is engaging what is targeting by a demon that appears out of nowhere on the sidewalk where he was nowhere to be found. And Upland police were engaging in conspicuous surveillance, and that coward that thinks that focusing his attention on some homeless person is going to help him look like less of a demon, less of a stalker, less of a psychopath, a vagina monitor that's wearing a police uniform that I'm going to strip him of. Okay, and it doesn't. But I just want to be clear, he's a coward, and he had this demon arrive. But I want to be clear, by he had this demon arrive, what I'm literally stating is the people of the state are stalking with the government. So they are co-conspirators. So the people of the state, this demon, he literally just sits on the sidewalk, and that is supposed to appear to you. That's why he's there. That's what he's doing. And that is not why he's there. And that third party doesn't even have to sit there for him to be prosecuted as a gang stalker. But this is what this demon did because I was approaching him with my video evidence on my phone after I get the light activity that Bird Tech is providing, criminally monitoring with the Upland Police Department. So I just want to show you that he's a punk. And he engages in what is standing in front of a homeless person because he wanted to look like he was doing something, because they don't have any diversion or they don't have any sort of alibi to rebut the fact that they're engaged in criminal monitoring. There is no such thing. The people of the state are engaged in criminal monitoring with them. So while you talk to them, they're going to prison as well. This is the P.O.C. It is the entity is sounding sirens, as you heard in the background. It's 10:44 a.m. and everybody inside, just like I documented yesterday, everybody inside is gang stalking. The employees are going to prison. It's 450 North Euclid Avenue. The fake sun arrives as I arrive. That's the P.O.C. All Alrighty, what you will see are the demons that are gang stalking by forming a line in front of gang stalker state actor Brianna. Doing so with those over and under the age of majority, monitoring under the fake sun that I've already shown you was already here before I arrived today, and they're engaging what is lining up. It's called relevant positioning, and they are blocking the path, and you'll see the fake sun right over the Upland Public Library, and this is what the entity is doing. Remember, when I'm remaining in Ontario, when I'm already here before 10 o'clock, when I walk out after 6 p.m., and the entity is gang stalking with kids. Gang stalking by those that are not concerned with literacy and reading their vagina monitors. All right, that's the P.O.C. This is the entity that's gang stalking. Brianna's going to prison. All right, that's just one of the means of the pattern of conduct. Just like when I'm subject to criminal summoning and I walk in and Alyssa's at the front window crossing path, Alyssa's going to prison. This is the breakdown of how that's going to operate. You're gang stalking in a library, you're going to prison. All right, that's the P.O.C. They're doing this in furtherance of murder. No minor, small thing at all. At all. And they also have the audacity to be collecting a paycheck while you're engaging in terrorism. Ashley and looks like Carissa. P.O.C. Good morning. Hi. Can I check out a laptop? Yeah. Want my library card? Or do you want my phone number? Which one do you want?
Whichever one.
Oh, okay, I'll give you my card.
Do my tasks. My tasks. Oh, thanks. Add it to your list.
Oh, I didn't know I had this. Okay, I'm gonna look at them first. Sorry about that. Let's see. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, it's okay. You're good. I just want to see if it's charged or shit. Oh, yeah, we're good. You guys have any paper towels or anything that I can wipe it down with? Or if not, I'll just take tissue.
Why is there number stuff in here? Let me get
That's what I was thinking. Thank you. How are you doing today, Ashley?
Alright. It says, oh my god. I was gonna say Wednesday, but no, it says
Oh yeah, it's Thursday. It does go by quick. I have to keep telling myself, who is today? Thursday. It's already the end of the week, basically.
this
Pretty
week
good.
went a little bit too fast for me.
Yeah, and it's already, what, June 11th?
God, don't
It just turned June. That's what I'm saying. It's about to be mid-June already. Like, that's what I really trip off every day. Like, it's going by a little too fast.
Yeah, my grandpa's right. Once you're in your 20s, everything goes fast. And I'm like, Grandpa, you need a knot.
That's funny. Thank you. Nobody's ever, thank you. I appreciate it. Okay. Have a good one, you guys. Alrighty. It is currently 10:48 a.m. So everybody is in a position inside of a building where the fake sun just sits over the building all day long, sounding sirens, sounding plane activities, stalking in the path, maintaining that P.O.C. They're engaging in that pattern of conduct with the entity that's stalking me by helicopters, stalking me by police department. It's all concentrated inside, just like I'm showing you what's happening in the grocery store. What's happening when I'm walking to the grocery store, it is also happening inside of the grocery store. What's happening when I'm outside of the library is happening inside of the library. This is common sense. So that's fine if I have to break it down. This is how you prosecute regarding what is the unfathomable. And the people of the state are demons engaging in the unfathomable. All right, it's the P.O.C. This is surveillance in a library, which is entirely pathetic. But it's also terrorism, which is a means to prosecute the government. Alrighty, it is currently 10:48 a.m. It is Thursday, June 11th, 2026, in Upland, California, at 450 North Euclid Avenue, P.O.C.
That is a demon. Okay, it's 2:37 p.m. and the fake sun is over the Upland Public Library, and this is how the entity is engaged in what is actually criminal activity and demonic activity under the innocent, deceptive guise of a crying baby. But even as you listen to that baby, that's a demon. This child has been growling, and they are monitoring. The moment I start recording, it stops. Okay, I'm gonna capture the fake sun that you'll see. This is very real regarding demon possession of those that are minors that are engaged in criminal activity with the government, relying on demon-possessed infants, demon-possessed kids that are monitoring with adults, engaging the people of the state do the same thing, bring their demon-possessed kids to monitor your genitalia. And it's very creepy. It's not cute when you're listening to what is actually Satan that is engaging in what is audible activity creation through the infantile size demons that are the people of the state's offspring. All right, it's 2:38 p.m. This is the entity that's maintaining an environment that is totally contradictory to what it's supposed to be like in the library. And the only reason why it stopped right now is because I started recording. And I'll show you the fake sun. This is indeed P.O.C. The entity is only concerned with the way that things look. So the moment that I start recording a growling child that's demonic, they're hearing Satan crying through the lungs of that child. It's barbaric, it's creepy, and it's demonic, and it's criminal, actually. So the entity is engaged in that, and the entity is engaged in what is ceasing, what is obviously overtly disruptive in the library, and this is what they're doing on an ongoing basis. It's only because it's being recorded right now. That's the only reason why. All right, that child's been sounding like an animal, seated right above where I'm located, stalking in the path under the fake sun. Remember, at 2 o'clock, I'm already gone yesterday. I'm at the same location where I captured the entity gang stalking me this morning at 7th and San Antonio. I'm walking on San Antonio Boulevard right now, San Antonio Avenue, excuse me, and the entity is keeping the fake sun stationary, where you just heard a demon wailing out through the lungs of a child that is demon possessed, that's monitoring an adult. And they send their gang stalking demons under the age of 18, monitoring genitalia in the bathroom as well. Just so that you know that, giving you context. I just wanted you to hear that. It's audible activity. It's not an innocent crying child. It's a demon. And these are the things that you need to be aware of. It's currently 2:40 p.m. This is P.O.C. It's 4:53 p.m. You're listening to Amplified Audible Activity, and the scheme regarding the noises that you hear are pursuant to demons who are stalking and monitoring my internet activity, and psychopaths that are violent sex offenders who are engaging this on behalf of the same Upland police you saw gang stalking under the fake sun that's on the same street, over the same building even, that I entered this morning, while they're engaging in what is monitoring and further into murder. This is a mentally ill population that's engaging in that, sitting in silence, stalking. This is the entity that's being prosecuted. They're going to be committed. That's what you're listening to. Do it again. This is P.O.C. You're listening to ongoing psychological torture for which the employees at Upland Library are going to prison. In other words, these are stalkers that are monitoring with the stalkers of the Upland Police who are being prosecuted on the internet, and the vagina monitors at the Upland Library maintain ongoing gang stalking in a gang stalking environment. The amplified audible activity you hear while Upland Police are being exposed on the internet. I'm specifically documenting what is the video evidence captured on April 27, 2026 at 9:07, where Upland Police are stalking at 11th Street. And as I begin referring or addressing this evidence, this is when this loud activity begins, and you're paying attention to the fake sun that's after 5 p.m. still shining through the roof. These are the mentally ill that engage in criminal activity, which is going to have them committed. It's not harming me, it's putting them away. And they are over and under majority. This is, again, Adam Tuckerman and everyone under that corrupt actor who's also engaging in surveillance in the bathroom, stalking with noise as well pertaining to my vagina, and engaging in conduct that's being documented, which is what the mentally ill do. They'll stand right in front of the judge and show how mentally ill they are. This is P.O.C. It's audible activity under the fake sun, which is already proven to be over the Upland Public Library. Harassing the federal prosecutor is not a wise thing to do, and this is Upland Police, the stalkers that are going to prison for it as well. This is a library where you hear demons that are little babies, and where you hear this loud activity in the library. They're gang stalking. That's why you heard me tell the demon, do it again. Yes.
I'm sorry, should be
Hi, how can I help
a
you?
little bit too loud. I can hear you from all the way upstairs.
I can hear some loud noise. Is that you stapling?
It's me stapling, yeah.
It's
Sorry.
really loud.
Sorry, I was putting something up.
Oh, okay. That's why I'm speaking loudly, because I'm competing with something in the background while I have headphones on at that.
I'll keep this down.
Okay, thank you, Ashley. This is P.O.C. The entity that's maintaining the noise level, that's asking me to keep the noise level down, this is the entity that's monitoring. Okay, this is what they're doing while they're stalked with amplified noise. That's the entity that's going to be committed. That's called harassment. P.O.C. Alrighty, it is currently 6:56 p.m. So you have Upland Police engaging in criminal summoning with the people of the state inside of the venue as a means of harassment while they're being documented and prosecuted as stalkers. So the stalkers are mad and they engage in what are federal offenses, which the people of the state share, and they're sitting around stalking in the library. That's criminal summoning by Upland Police. And the entity is also stalking with MetroLink at 6:53 p.m., engaging in what is amplification, which is impossible audible activity. The fact that I know that the train is sounding is the entity that is targeting. And this is the entity that is engaging in what is stalking in all places in the library under that enduring fake sun, while they are hostile demons, hostile gang stalkers, and furtherance of murder. They want to be able to engage in gang stalking in peace, right? Without exposure, without consequences. And those are the ones that are going to be committed. Okay, this is P.O.C. This is the entity that's doing so while they are employed. Those are the ones that are doing so while they are homeless, equally obsessed, and equally demon-possessed. possessed and equally sexually perverted. All right, that's what you're listening to inside of a bathroom. It is currently 6:57 p.m. The employees are subject to what is the mandated penalties regarding systematic facilitation, and that's prison. P.O.C. It is currently 7:10 p.m. and I am at the Upland Public Library, and this is the crime scene. So this is a demon that's engaging what it's telling everybody about what he's talking about. The reason why he's being so open with what would ordinarily be in a conversation that people don't want to share everything with is because he's monitoring. He's sitting in between engineer light that's on the ground right here. It's not sunlight. He's sitting in between engineer light. He's projecting his voice. He's on the communication device. He's stalking in the path everywhere that he could see. He sits right in alignment to where I'm positioned. Number one, stalking. Number two, this is the one that's been engaged in stalking in the library all day long and is a serial stalker. And this is the entity that's been stalking as evident through the environment all day long. And the entity is maintaining, let me go back so you can see this. This is the entity that is maintaining the fake sun that I'm capturing right now, just so you can see. This is the light source that I'm capturing right now at 7:11 p.m. What you see at the top, this is a screen recording because the state actor is gang stalking with the people of the state. The same people of the state that sit inside of the library stalking me all day long, stalking with noise like you hear Ashley doing. She's actually a psychopath. She comes and asks me if I could keep it down while she's been engaged in what is harassing me with amplified audible activity as a demon. Meaning while she's merely using a stapler, it takes on the character of that which is extraordinarily louder than it naturally is. And she does that as a demon that's stalking where she works under the fake sun that sat over the roof of this library for the duration of the day. That's why it's still here while I'm outside of the library where I arrived this morning at it's 7:11 p.m. when I took this picture. Okay, so this is in reference to Upland Police. Every single last one that I document gang stalking that take very lightly the policy that you're going to federal prison as a terrorist. The entity that wants to test that policy is going to be subject to that policy, and everyone else is going to witness that. Gang stalking period, while you are wearing police uniforms representing yourself as a police officer, you are not that. And while this is the system that the U.S. military maintains, they are going to prison. Okay, and this is the P.O.C. and the Upland Police engage in this conduct while they are monitoring my evidence, and so they engage in literally and willfully testing it, and you're going to prison. That's the simple and long and short of it. This is the entity that's engaging what is harassment. They're engaging in the P.O.C., and I'm going to go ahead and show you what was captured this morning while you are witnessing what is still present in the evening.
Give you a quick rundown about what Upland Police are doing. This is P.O.C., stalking in the path, psychopathic pacing, identified in the specific environment, moving over me, bird tech.
And I want to go ahead and mention, reviewing my evidence, this demon is a coward. But I reviewed this morning my evidence. The people of the state, this is a homeless third party. It's not completely legible, but that must be, I'm assuming, I'm going to go ahead and concede that the people of the state were sitting on the curb at the point that I started the video. Okay, it does not change the analysis, but I'm going to go ahead and speak to the fact that the third party didn't, like a demon like they do, appear out of nowhere when I began going into my video. And you can have that fact because it's equally criminal summoning, it's equally stalking, and it's equally the under the fake sun. But the entity engages in the sort of behavior where they get the crime scene prepared, where there's no iteration where it's anything other than the pattern of conduct. But the entity is engaging in what is being seated in perfect alignment with me on the sidewalk at the beginning of the video. So that's what I want to address, because I spoke to Coward, having the people of the state arrive with him while I'm engaging in what is capturing my video. And it looks like he's there in the beginning. It's the same pattern of conduct, however.
In the background over here, this is a restaurant that's gang stalking. The fake sun's gonna move as I move in this parking lot, which is showing what is stalking with light activity. This is demonic and it's also criminal. They're engaging with criminal facilitation. They're doing so with Upland Police, who are not a law enforcement agency. They're engaged in surveillance, and they're engaging in the very unwise and imprudent and highly documented pattern of psychological torture regarding their own federal prosecution. So this is the entity that's going to be prosecuted as well with the military tribunals, the U.S. military's co-defendants, the Upland Police, 10632.
Okay, so this is Bird Tech that's engaging in light activity. It's the same pattern of conduct right now. You have the people of the state that are surrounding. They're in the engineer light. The people of the state are pacing on Euclid Avenue. They're creating light activity. The people of the state in use of a communication device, seated with the concentrated light activity, while I'm showing you my shadow that's projected here, and it's also on the inside of the Upland Public Library, which I've shown. This is light activity. Bird Tech was using a vehicle to create peculiarized light. This is the P.O.C. under the fake sun. This morning at 10:15 a.m. at 159 South Euclid Avenue, this is what we're
we're going to fast forward to where Upland police are engaging in the crime of stalking and furtherance of murder. Stalking that is psychologically torturous, and it is shared by a population. The government is engaging in it, and they do that in furtherance of criminally defaming you before they murder and kidnap you. And Upland is engaging in this under the fake sun on this same street, which is hours from now. So let's count 7 right now. Let's count the fake sun. So look at the record right now. The current time is where I'm being gang stalked still, and Upland police are gang stalking. What they did on video was conspicuous surveillance, which is an egregiously violent sex offense. It is gang stalking, and they're doing so while wearing a gun, wearing the uniform, representing yourself as law enforcement when they're engaging in terrorism, criminal surveillance, while outwardly demonstrating, trying to convey that you are, and maliciously conveying the exact opposite. And this is an image of the fake sun at 7:15 p.m. All right, so this is what I'm capturing this morning at 10:15.
Psychotic, and they have some sort of ego attached to accomplishing.
So let's get to the fake sun documentation that's right over me at the Chevron at what is South Euclid Avenue. This is the state actor.
He's going to prison. He's stalking while you're bearing a weapon, gang stalking with the people of the state, license 1675593, and this is pacing. This is actually a demon, so he's going back and forth to the car. He's pacing, and this demon is in alignment to my path, and this is how you know that, the fake sun, okay? License, they're stalking with the police, 9TZZ915. This is the pattern of
The people of the state go to federal prison for gang stalking in real time, sharing in the elements in the midst of the video evidence. They are before your face threatening you. They're stalking you in your face. They're psychologically torturing you. They're doing so in defiance of federal law. They're doing so as though they are impervious for you, to you enforcing your rights. This is why federal prison is mandated for the people of the state. Gang stalking while the entity is engaged in criminal summoning. Okay, it's the same thing when the entity is gang stalking by helicopter.
I want you to watch the fake sun remain over me while I walk. This is the pattern of conduct. This is the entity of vehicle 224. This is the entity that's engaging that Chevron is monitoring. And the entity is engaging that, I want you to see, because they're going to prison and they're going to be subject to mental examinations as well. This is the psychopath.
So what I want you to see, the entity is engaging in what is a scene where he's appearing to engage in what would be constitutionally protected with regard to authority, exercise of lawful authority, the execution of the duties of an officer. The question is whether this is that. The irrebuttable presumption of public corruption is already presented in the specific environment. This is a psychopath. The mental illness, the entity stalking by helicopter, let's get that.
After 2 p.m. This is the P.O.C. This is the outward demonstration of mental illness that's no longer closeted. The sociopaths that joined the, yeah, he's going to prison. The sociopaths that joined the academy in order to engage in the criminal activity. All right, this is
the entity is stalking by helicopter, which was following me to the Upland Public Library this morning, is engaged in routinely stalking me in the city of Ontario. This is the U.S. military targeting me with this demon of the Upland Police Department under the fake sun at what is 10:15 a.m. and it is currently 7:18 p.m. And to be clear, just so that you see, I am steps away from the Chevron where the Upland police are gang stalking. To be exact, it is 2 minutes away, where you're looking at what is, yeah, this is where I'm located this morning. And walking up the street, which is what I did after that ongoing criminal encounter by the Upland Police Department that are targeting me in furtherance of murder with the U.S. military, gang stalking to my current location where the fake sun remains upon my exit, where the people of the state have been engaged in maintaining criminal surveillance all day long, doing so through the psychologically harmful pattern of stalking conspicuously, stalking you also with noise, harassing you, monitoring your every movement, monitoring my vagina. I'm showing you the entity that is stalking in the bathroom stalls. They're doing so while going into the male restroom as well, stalking in the path. They're doing so while they're being documented. This is the entity that is psychologically torturing, threatening you, and harassing you while they're engaging in criminal activity that has yet to be enforced. So this, and it's by the government. So the government is engaging in that which it is convinced it's going to get away with. The government's practicing demonic activity, all manner of malicious conduct. This is the entity that's engaging in that. And Upland police are stalking me all day long, including at 6:51 p.m. where they're engaged in criminal summoning while I'm on the internet. And I'm preparing to publish the video evidence of Chin of the Upland Police Department gang stalking me inside of the Upland Vons at 81 West Foothill Boulevard. And the entity that's engaging in surveillance on the internet is gang stalking me inside of the Upland Public Library. And the Upland police sound their sirens while I am editing this video, preparing to publish it on YouTube, where the people of the state are engaging in harassment. Okay, like what you hear Ashley doing, like what I documented Metrolink is doing, and what the Upland Police are doing, sounding sirens, criminal summoning. There is no sun in any natural environment that is going to coexist, in other words, being in Ontario like the evidence shows, remaining in Fontana like the evidence shows, and also remaining in one city on one street. While I'm showing you where I am steps away, it is specifically 0.5 miles away. Okay, so this is where the fake sun is at this morning at 10:15 on that video evidence, and this is where it is right now, and it's 7:20 p.m. This state actor is going to federal prison. This is that which is even beyond a reasonable doubt. It is to a scientific degree, and this is the exact same pattern of conduct, and the people of the state are sharing in that surveillance. Pay attention to the ongoing migration of what is impossible light activity. It's not sunlight, and that's also not the sun. These are mentally ill psychopaths who are in a whole crime scene. It's a circus environment. And Bill Velto, his headquarters are right here behind this demon's head, the Upland City Hall, where I am under surveillance, where the sun is not going to be present for the Upland Police to be gang stalking me at 9 o'clock in the morning. That's what I have on the record, where the entity is stalking by helicopter, and stalking is defined by that which is occurring in the environment that defies nature. And the demons that keep their back to you while they're stalking, the demons that engage in what is stalking you in the path while looking to the left and the right, the demons that do so wearing uniforms, bearing weapons, even acting as though you have reasonable suspicion, probable cause, constitutional doctrines that have meaning and significance, not based on you acting like you have that authority, but actually having that authority, not upon what is abused by that government. You're going to prison for that. That's the entity that sets you up to murder you and making it look like an accident, something suicidal, something that self-inflicted, something that has to be investigated while the people of the state, the ones that are gang stalking you, committed. That's why he's going to prison. This is the P.O.C. and the Upland Police decided to engage in that today based on testing a policy, and they are engaging what is defying the federal government. The Upland Police are not a police department. Marcelo Blanco is not a police chief. This is showing that it is the direct opposite, and they're going to be prosecuted under the law in a military tribunal based on what they actually are. Okay, they are acting with the U.S. military that is engaging what is stalking me as I'm going from Upland to Ontario, and they're stalking in planes and helicopters. This is the P.O.C. It is currently 7:22 p.m.